Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 169 of Nerdpod Generations. As always, I am one of your illustrious hosts, Steve Taylor, along with the always lovely Al Judson. Hello, sir.
Hello, friends and enemies. What's up, Buttercup? I know,
Tired,
right?
Man. I gotta admit, I have noticed something about. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm in my first office job.
Yes, Steve has finally left the world of restaurants and is now working at a cubicle.
Yes, or even direct customer service. I am in a cubicle. I'm on a computer. I'm answering calls, doing things all day like that. And the days fly by so fast that I remember this past Sunday, me going, oh, I can't believe it's Sunday already, and this weekend went by so quick. And now tomorrow's Friday.
I know.
I have no fucking idea what happened in the first 4 days of this week.
Get ready when you've been there for over a year and you start looking around and being like, it's 2027?
Yeah.
Since when? Since when is it 2027?
Dude, it's crazy.
No, I still think it's 2022. I have not moved on. I am in deep denial.
Deep denial.
We got past the bulk of the pandemic, and I was like, okay, so now we get that time back, right? And it's like the Anakin Skywalker meme. We get that time back, though, right?
Right?
No.
Never. So anyways, folks, 169 Nerdpod Generations. If this is the first time you are listening to us, please go to nerdpodgen.com. There are links to not only Apple Podcasts and Spotify, there are links to our YouTube channel, which Al has put up little snippets of past episodes and current episodes that you can go on YouTube and just listen to us, and you don't have to worry about looking at our faces.
We got some good reviews on our last 2 episodes.
Oh, nice.
The very special episode got some nice feedback, not in terms of comments, but in terms of views and likes. But the Tales of the Shire clip, Kelly brings them in. What can you say?
Does. I know.
She brings them in every time.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the last episode, Al's wife Kelly likes to join us because she is big into musicals. Disney and Lord of the Rings are usually the 3 topics that we will drag her in, and she will just share the knowledge and make us look bad because, I mean, it's not hard, but I mean,
No. We talk a big bluster, but it's big bad wolf bluster.
Oh, absolutely.
A little push and we fall over. Yeah. There's no getting around it.
So every now and then we need that glue to hold
the show
together.
Who has some level of authority to bring us back in.
I was going to say class intelligence, but
that also,
authority.
That also,
too. But so anyways, nerdpodgen.com. Please go, click on the links. There are different links to private things that Al and I have been doing. There's a page for each of us so you can kind of see what we look like, which I apologize right now. And
Cut to a incel somewhere being like, see, even he loves his wife and calls her an authority.
I know. Nice.
God damn it.
Yours, yeah. But yeah, so that is our show. We like to start every show with a little segment called What Have You Been Watching, Playing, Reading? I don't know if you want to start, and then we'll row into my...
Yeah, I'll receive on this. So I got a few things that I want to jump through. One, we rewatched Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, great movie.
If anybody hasn't seen that movie, you have to go out and see it, because
it's got to be on the list of underrated.
It's fucking brilliant.
It's amazing.
It's absolutely incredible, from the animation to the storytelling to the music to the artistry of it. I want a cut of it that keeps all the animators in the background moving in fast motion so you can see just how much work is going on in this massive... For anybody who doesn't know, Kubo and the Two Strings is produced by Laika, which is a stop-motion animation studio out of Oregon, and they are fucking incredible. Of the 6 movies that they've made, 5 have been fucking masterpieces. So if you don't know Laika, go out and acquaint yourself, because it's worth your time. But this is just... Kubo is such a beautiful story because it is so evolving in its own form. The meticulousness of having, the main character's superpowers be based around origami. And the nature of having to do that. But then you also see some of the big monsters that they have to create and animate. And it's an absolutely incredible story. It has a great twist about halfway through where you're like, huh. Okay. It does admittedly come because you watch a beetle man and a monkey spooning, like a married couple, and you're kind of like, well, that's interesting. I've seen a lot of things in this movie. I wasn't expecting that to be one of them. But it's a great movie. Has a great voice cast.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I do feel like if he was still alive, Robin Williams would have played Beetle, and it would have been just so good.
Yeah.
If I had a complaint, it would be that Matthew McConaughey is cutting his drawl, and whenever he does that, it sounds weird. Just because I'm used to Matthew McConaughey sounding like he's the governor of Texas.
Matthew McConaughey, exactly.
So like, but you know, as much as I always want to gripe about Matthew McConaughey, I never have anything bad to say about him.
True.
I always want to be like, oh, but he's so, and like the most you can say is that he self-congratulated and dedicated his Oscar win to himself in 10 years, which is just like coming up, first off, but also weird, just profoundly
Is it really
weird.
coming up?
Yeah, that
Holy
was
crap.
that was almost 10 years ago now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Dallas Buyers Club is probably the last movie of its kind because you would not be able to have the cast of that movie that you have now.
No, not even close.
Let alone have Jared Leto win an Oscar for it. So anyway, Kubo and the Two Strings is a brilliant, beautiful movie. It has kind of a weird ending just because the ending is basically the entire community gaslighting the villain, which is kind of like, you know, there's a part of me that feels like this is going to come back to bite us at some point, you know, given that he's an all-powerful moon god. But sure, let's gaslight him. But I love it. It's a great movie. I also wanted to talk about, I'm going to just bop through a few trailers here while I get set up for something. I'm building something. We hadn't talked about the This is Spinal Tap 2 trailer on the show.
Yes.
Yet. So I finally watched it.
Okay.
While we're, just glancing through the trailer park, that's it. I think the biggest thing that I'm taking away is I didn't realize how old they all were.
Oh yeah.
They are all like really like Miyazaki old witch old.
Yeah.
Old.
Well, when you think about Michael McKean was on Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That was which
is a reference that 80s. No one will know nowadays. No. You have to be 40 and over.
That's Lenny. And it's like I mean, the first Spinal Tap was 80, right? I think it was late 70s, early 80s. It was something like that. It was early.
But it still looks fun. Of these revival movies that they've been kind of plugging us with over the last few years, I think it looks better than a lot of them have in the past. I'm not like a super Spinal Tap guy. It does still have kind of it still has the same scent coming off of it as History of the World Part 2 and Spaceballs 2, where you kind of smell it and you're like, this smells like old man, which is to say it smells like a lot of people who love this thing who finally get a chance to be a part of it, which I can't really complain about because, again, 10 years ago, when The Force Awakens came out and everybody and their cousin wanted to play a stormtrooper, I was like, good for you guys, live the dream. So like, if somebody wants to be, the drummer in Spinal Tap who dies, more power to you. That's great. I love that.
And it could go one of two ways because now, mind you, I still have not seen this. I'm going off of secondhand reviews. As of what I heard about the new Naked Gun movie,
it has good reviews.
Is it spectacular? And it's from the critics that I listen that hate everything.
Yeah.
And that they love it. And then I saw an interview with the director, who's one of the Lonely Island boys. I can't remember.
Schaefer, I think.
I think so. He loves it so much. He went into the detail of, I want to say it's 80. All like the first couple Naked Gun movies were start to end of credits 85 minutes.
And this is 85 minutes.
He made this entirely.
That's fucking dope.
And it's like that level of detail just because of the love. If they can do that with this, because I'll be honest, the last one of these type of movies, and when I say these type, I'm going to put it into the Christopher Guest,
the
mockumentaries. I loved A Mighty Wind, but then there was I think it was called For Your Consideration, and it wasn't good. And then I don't think he's made another one since then. I don't think there's been another one because I was kind of big into that.
Was that before Best in Show, or was
no? Best in Show was the one right after Spinal Tap, right after Waiting for Guffman. So it was Spinal Tap, Waiting for Guffman, and then Best in Show, and then they did A Mighty Wind, which once again, awesome if you haven't seen it. Love that fucking movie. And then they did that, and then it kind of went away.
Yeah.
And now this is like the first one. I mean, that was. It had to be 15, 20 years ago that For Your Consideration came out. And now this is the first one of this type of mockumentary since.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious.
But
I'm like you. I wasn't a huge Spinal Tap fan. It was all right.
I don't have enough of a nostalgia well for this to be able to be like, oh, dude, this is going to be dope as hell, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. You made a new Spinal Tap. I don't really get it. I don't really know that we needed it, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
I love Harry Shearer, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Have you ever seen A Mighty Wind?
No.
Okay, so it's about folk music.
Yeah, it's Spinal Tap, but folk music instead.
But to me, they already did the reunion because they got Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, and Christopher Guest to be this folk band.
Yeah.
As part of this. So you kind of saw, I know they weren't the characters, but you saw these three playing a band together, and it was like, okay, to me, that was the natural transition of Spinal Tap not doing a sequel 40 years later.
Yeah, it almost feels
50
like...
years later, almost.
Yeah, seriously. It almost feels like, I don't know, like, I don't want to bash someone's dream project, but it just feels like an idea that someone latched onto that doesn't have enough legs to run. But this was how I felt about Naked Gun 44 and a half or 44 and a fourth or whatever they're fucking calling it.
Yeah.
And that's getting really good reviews. So I don't, maybe I'm wrong. My big thing...
No, you're not wrong. I mean, you look at the history of movies that have had this long of a break.
Yeah.
You maybe count on one hand the ones that are good.
Yeah, it's like, again...
The majority of them are terrible.
Again, we this is the most interesting thing. Is that we've talked a lot in this show about bringing back dead franchises. Your Happy Gilmores, your Blade Runners, your RoboCops, all of these Terminator, the interminable tries of Terminator. And so this will once again provide us another data point on what works and what doesn't. I just can't guarantee on what side of the line that data point is going to fall, whether it's going to fall in a, wow, that worked, or wow, that really didn't work and was always a bad idea. So we'll see. It's hard to say. Speaking of reviewers that we love who have a little bit of a history of being tough nuts to crack, one of our guys, Chris Stuckman, has been working on a movie.
He's been working on it for a very long time.
And there is finally a trailer out for it.
Oh, I've not seen that.
It's called Shelby Oaks.
Okay.
The trailer finally dropped during the week this week. And God help me, this looks really good. This looks like the guy's got chops. This looks like... So the basic premise is this woman has a person show up at her doorstep.
Okay.
And this person shoots himself in the head as soon as she opens the door. And he's holding one of those mini DV tapes. And so it's this found footage... sort of film, where you have all of these mini DV tapes that this woman's sister had recorded over in this ghost village called Shelby Oaks, and then her sister disappeared. Okay. And so this is like the prodding that gets her to go to Shelby Oaks and start looking around, and it just looks really creepy and atmospheric. Okay. The way that he shows us that initial moment of the guy showing up and shooting himself is we don't see anything. What we see is this woman's house. We hear the door knock. We see images of this woman and her sister in this house in pictures, not like walking around, like in pictures on the walls. And then you just hear a gunshot and this woman scream, and it cuts to this guy holding a tape on the ground, and you can infer what happened.
Gotcha.
The reviews look really good. The look of the movie itself looks incredible. I'm just really happy for Chris Stuckman to have been trying to do this for so long and to have finally cracked the code on it and gotten a chance to make something, and it got picked up by Neon. So like that's fucking great. That's outstanding that it got picked up by Neon.
David is in it? Awesome.
So like I'm
Dude, I love Keith David.
I'm super pumped for that. I think that could be really good. That definitely has that creepy atmospheric look to horror movies that I love. I'm not so much the horror movies that I love are like Oculus. Have you seen Oculus?
Yes.
Oh, just fucking Karen Gillan. Every day. Yeah. I could watch Karen Gillan in something every day and never get bored. And she's incredible in Oculus. But it's like that building tension. There's definite fear and concern. But there's no monster, hiding over the corner or something. And so I'm very interested in this. I wanted to talk about... Do I want to talk about it? I want to talk about Avatar 3, Fire and Ash.
Fire and Ash.
In that I have nothing to say about it. The thing I have to say about it is... that I already missed the era of the next Avatar will be out in 10 years. Yeah. And you don't have to think about it. Because now they're trying to sell this movie on the plot, which has never been the strong suit of Avatar.
No, not even close.
So I don't understand anything about this.
Like, I I only know the plot of the first one because I saw it, no joke, 3 days in a row. I told you this at the IMAX 3D because visually it was the most, still sits as the most amazing thing I've ever seen on screen, visually. Mm-hmm. The second one, also, the visuals were, to think that those movies are 99% digital,
that they're made
is insane.
In a pool in a shooting room.
Yeah.
Like it's not out in the ocean or anything.
No,
they filled a pool with water and they shot in a hangar.
Yeah. But I could not tell you one part of that plot.
Yeah. No.
Because the story is so bad.
It's the same as the first one.
Yeah.
And they just took the meteor, or not the meteor, the mineral that they were trying to farm, and then they replaced
Once
it.
Again, the worst name ever, unobtainium.
And not even original. There was already an unobtainium before Avatar.
Yeah.
It was in the movie The Core with Aaron Eckhart and, of all people, Hilary Swank. I couldn't tell you why she's in that movie, but she is. And they make a drill to go down to the center of the earth, and the drill is coated in unobtainium, invented by Delroy Lindo.
I think that was her post $1 Million Baby.
I think so. You have to have a crash after you win an Oscar.
You got to have the stealth after Ray.
You have to have the no strings attached after Black Swan.
Yes, exactly.
It's almost. I feel bad for Natalie Portman because she had no strings attached, and then like shortly after, Your Highness. And like, dude, that was just, oh boy, I feel so bad for her. She won an Oscar and then immediately got turned into a piece of ass. And it was just like,
Halle Berry Catwoman.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue why anybody would want to see Avatar 3. I don't know why Disney is pushing this like it's some great thing. I'm going to triple down on what I've said since 2009, that these should all be fake nature documentaries.
Yeah.
That's all this should be. We don't care about the Na'vi. We don't care about the characters within the Na'vi. We could care about the Na'vi as a people, but we don't care about the individual Na'vi people. And we definitely don't care about Jake Sully. So get this fucking Pocahontas bullshit out of here.
Or what they need to do is say, all right, James, you can direct this. Let someone else write it.
Let anyone else write it.
Anyone. It's like the George Lucas thing. George, don't fucking write the script.
Yeah.
You're terrible at that.
If you have to have people in it, have it be like a prequel, like an Aliens style prequel, where like they discover this planet and they're exploring it and they're finding things, and then all of a sudden shit gets really bad because they don't know what's on the planet.
Yes.
There's cool things that you can do with Pandora. None of them are telling the story of Pocahontas. No. None of them.
And the thing that drives me nuts is I will want to see this because... And this time it'll have to be in IMAX, because I think the thing that the reason I had to see the second one is I still have that memory of the first one.
Yeah.
And the visuals were incredible, but unlike the first one, after I saw the second one, I did not need to see it again.
No. I got to the section where they basically explained like, oh, humans are so evil that we have these whales that could like solve every problem on Earth if we just listen to them. But instead we're going to farm their brain matter. That's what this movie's about, is farming whale brains. And it's like, why?
It's so dumb.
What is wrong with you, Jim?
It's so dumb.
James, what's going on? I was okay with the whole ocean thing. You know, the Abyss and Titanic and fine. Whatever. You love the ocean. I'm glad. Everybody needs a hobby. What is this?
Yeah.
Why is this a thing? Again, we don't need to be extolled on how terrible humans are.
Yeah.
There's a funny line in Murderbot, which is finally getting its day in court today.
Yes.
About how Murderbot watches TV to escape the real life situations he's trapped in.
Exactly.
And I'm like, why are we... I don't need to have another morality tale about how evil humans are and how bad we are for the scope of nature.
Yeah.
I know, man.
I want to preface this by saying I do love the Abyss, but we need less of the Abyss and more of True Lies.
Yeah.
We need more of that kind of tight, tell a fun,
Aliens,
entertaining story.
The director's cut of Aliens.
Exactly.
There's no fat on that.
No,
I don't know what they cut
out
of it to make it less, but the director's cut is like, it's almost a perfect movie. So give us more of that, man.
And the thing that I've never given him enough guff over is he loves cliche dialogue.
Does he ever?
Like the very first one when they're firing a gun going, get some! I'm like, dude, that's the most cliched military, like, he just loves that shit. And it's like, dude, you gotta get a good writer.
It does make me wonder what life in the Bigelow Cameron house was like, because you have one person who is very military minded and you have one person who is kind of a beatnik hippie type. And I just kind of wonder what that all was about.
Yeah. And the beatnik hippie type, you're talking Cameron, right?
Yeah.
And he's the beatnik hippie type, but he's also known to be this awful, like, overbearing, demanding, like, douchebag.
Yeah, he's still a director from the 80s.
Yeah, very much so.
Who you look at and you ask, he's not a Lars von Trier, but he's in that same camp of like, why do you guys keep working with him? Sigourney Weaver, come here. But like, why? I guess my question is, why? So anyway, Avatar, whatever.
Yeah.
Zootopia 2 had a trailer drop, and my only question is, I didn't realize that there weren't lizards in the first one.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that I took away from it was like, oh, it's more Zootopia. It's more good cop, bad cop, or whatever you want to call it. And partners in crime, whatever, the standard trope from the 80s. And now there's snakes, and I guess I just assumed that reptiles had been a part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, it made me go back and think, and now that I think about it,
I have to rewatch it because I'm genuinely curious if there were literally no reptiles anywhere in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would have noticed that, or the internet would have been like, hey, did you notice that there's only mammals in Zootopia? Like, I feel like that would have come up at some point. So, other than that, I don't really have anything to say about it.
No, I love the first Zootopia.
I like Zootopia.
So it's like, okay.
They've made it 3 more times since then.
Yeah.
In various forms. So, like, that's my only thing is, like, now you have to compete with, hot and cold, whatever that fucking elemental.
Elemental.
Now you have to compete with that because that was just Zootopia, but with elements instead of animals. But it was the same fucking movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This seems fine. I like the first Zootopia. I like Hops and Wild. I like Jennifer Goodwin and Jason what's his nut.
And Idris Elba's
back.
He's
so
awesome.
It's a good cast. I'm interested in this. The internet's going to have a fucking field day with all of the bunny foxisms that are going to come out of this. The furry community is going to be pumped.
Oh, huge.
So, like, I don't know. This is going to be fun.
Pumped.
Yeah.
It is episode 169. Ah! Sorry, I've been waiting to do that.
So, a few quick hitters to get through. One, Eternity is a movie starring Elizabeth Olsen. It's an A24 film. It's about what happens after you die, and more specifically, what happens to a woman who dies who's had 2 husbands, both of whom have died before her. Mm-hmm. And so she shows up to the gates of heaven, essentially. It's like it's almost like a convention where you pick where you want to go to for the rest of your life. And she has to choose between her husband who died in World War II and her husband who is Miles Teller. And it looks interesting. It looks...
Yeah, I saw it. It's an interesting premise, but I will not lose sleep if I never see this movie.
That's the thing.
That's the sad part.
It did not make me say, "Oh, I got to go watch this."
And I love Elizabeth Olsen. She's easily my favorite Olsen.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, I agree. Unfortunately, there's just not enough.
Yeah, not enough time in the world, man.
It might be a fun date night watch at some point.
Yeah,
but we'll see. They're making a Nuremberg movie with a bunch of Oscar winners, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed. I don't think it's going to be bad. The trailer did not make me think that this was like Oscar bait, even though it seemed like it should be.
Yeah.
And so you have like Rami Malek and Russell Crowe and like this big fucking cast.
And it's like Rami Malek, who just did Oppenheimer, is now doing a Nuremberg movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, okay.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. There is... George Clooney is finally playing Cary Grant in that he's not playing Cary Grant in Jay Kelly. But they directly reference Cary Grant, so you can see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. He's a man who became famous for playing himself. He's Cary Grant. But the thing that makes me interested is that it's a Noah Baumbach movie, and Adam Sandler is in it, playing a semi-serious role. And so I'm kind of quietly intrigued by this.
Yeah.
I'm not a Baumbach guy by and large, but I am intrigued by just the premise.
Well, and I don't think we ever would have said we are going to watch a movie that has George Clooney and Adam Sandler.
No, that's the other thing.
So right there
what a fucking combo.
That's a draw.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. You have to see it just to see it. It's like seeing 2 comets run into each other. You're like, when are you ever going to have that happen?
To be honest, Adam Sandler has a really good track record with serious movies.
Yes, he does. He's actually not a bad actor.
Yes.
He's pretty good when he wants to be. Mm-hmm. It's just that he doesn't always want to be serious. So, which I get.
And I don't blame him.
I don't blame him. Listen, if I could get paid to go on vacation and invite a hot actress to go on vacation with me, yes, I would invite all of my friends and Selma Hayek, and we'll just go to fucking, I don't know, the Caribbean, and we'll film a movie and call it Grown Ups 3.
And he became a billionaire doing this. So it's like,
I cannot blame him.
No.
The last two that I wanted to hit on, one is Rental Family, which is a movie starring Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
He is an out-of-work actor in Japan, who has lived in Japan for some time. And he gets hired to just play roles, like not on TV, in people's lives. So this girl lost her father, so he gets hired to be her father. And this old man wants to go on this journey, so he gets hired to be the son that this old man doesn't have to go on this journey with him. And it's just like, it's fascinating. And it's Brendan Fraser being happy, which is like a thing we don't get to see enough of. And the genuine nature of how he is interacting with these various people, it just draws you immediately in. And you're just like, I kind of want to see that. That looks kind of crazy.
And I'm happy he's doing it because so far since his Oscar, I think the only thing that he's done is Killers of the Flower Moon. He played a lawyer in that, I believe. Yeah. So he didn't fall victim to, I am now an Oscar winner. I'm just going to do whatever movie is thrown at me, and I don't want to throw shade at Ki Hugh Kwan, who does literally anything that's thrown at him.
I love Short Round. He is in dangerous Aquafina level territory.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not telling you not to do work. I'm telling you to be a little bit more decisive in the work that you choose.
Exactly. No one is going to forget who you are.
No.
Everyone knows you now.
We all love you.
Yes.
Many of us want you to be the new Indiana Jones.
Yes.
So, definitely. But, also, 3 notches. 3 notches. You're at 11. Take it to an 8. Nobody gets to play at an 8.
Exactly.
You get to play at an 8.
Exactly. But that's what makes me happy about this. It's like it looks like he's looking for quality projects.
Yes.
And
this looks
really
like a quality project.
Yes.
This looks really good. It has that nice fish out of water feel to it too. Of there's a line in the trailer about you can live here your entire life, and there will be elements of this culture that you will never understand. And so it's just I find this fascinating as an American who has a lot of Japanese cultural influences in his life.
It's a unique idea, which we don't see a lot.
Yeah. So I'm very into it. And my last thing in my basket is some actual organic Spider-Man news, not manufactured.
I know none of this, so I'm excited to hear this from you.
So, Spider-Man Brand New Day has begun filming.
Yes.
Which is a big deal for a variety of reasons. What's interesting about it, the two things that I want to talk about. One, I don't know if Marvel does listen to the show. If they do, please fucking hire me. I don't want to do the job I do every day. I want to do stuff that makes people genuinely happy and shows the work that we love for what we love about it.
Yes.
So Marvel, if you're listening, please hire me. And I say if you're listening because they did it. What was my one line in the sand? What was the one thing that I kept saying about the next Tom Holland Spider-Man? You need to make the fucking costume.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to see no digital bullshit costume. I don't want to see no mocap costume. I don't want this bullshit gray spandex sleeping costume that you walk around in. Okay? Make the fucking suit. And you know what they fucking did? They made the fucking suit. It's real. It's on him. He walks around in it. It is not a digital representation. There are behind-the-scene camera shots of him in the fucking suit. Finally! So the good news is that I can review this movie because my line in the sand has not been crossed.
Good.
They finally did it. They finally realized, hey, we should probably make an actual real-life suit that he can actually, fucking wear because it'll pick up the light better. Other thing that I want to talk about is the casting news that is surrounding this. So we knew Sadie Sink was in the zeitgeist
to be Mary Jane Watson.
A lot of people think she's Mary Jane Watson. I still say that would be a massive misstep.
Okay.
I still think that's a bad idea. I think the clear, most effective way to do Sadie Sink in this story is to do, I almost called her Starfire. Not Star, Firestar.
Firestar.
But she should be Firestar, who is from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yes.
Has a long history with the character, to the point where when Lego made the Daily Bugle, they did not have a Mary Jane Watson in it. They had 2 Gwen Stacy's and Firestar.
Yeah.
So has fucking clout, has a grade in the world. Moreover, she's a fucking mutant. So what are we trying to do right now? What are we trying to get a groundswell on? Mutants. So Sadie Sink should play Firestar. She should be a mutant because that's just so much fucking better. I love Mary Jane Watson. I'm still mad that in the 9 million Spider-Man movies we've had, the closest we've gotten to a good Mary Jane Watson is Zoe Kravitz in Into the Spider-Verse for 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
When she is talking to him at the ball that they go and break into for Kingpin. That's it. That's the closest we've ever gotten to a good Mary Jane Watson in the movies.
And you're right. I also don't want to see that character because they've already ruined it for this universe.
Yeah. You told us you don't need an MJ.
Yeah.
You told us we have a different idea. We're going to do this differently. We're going to do this our way.
Yeah.
And I told you at the time that was a bad idea. And you still said, no. Michelle Jackson or whatever the fuck her name is.
We don't need Norman Osborn. We don't need Osborn.
Norman Osborn doesn't exist.
We don't need Mary Jane Watson.
You can Google Norman Osborn. He's not a person.
Yeah.
So this is what brings me to my second piece of news, which is very interesting. Joe Keery, who for a long time I have been professing should be Spider-Man over Tom Holland. Tom Holland was always the wrong choice. Joe Keery should have always been Spider-Man. He looks just like the Ultimate Spider-Man. Not the new current Ultimate Spider-Man who looks like me, but the actual original Ultimate Spider-Man who was a fucking teenager who worked in a Shake Shack. Joe Keery has been cast in Spider-Man Brand New Day. There's a lot of rumors about who he's going to play, and currently the working theory is that he's going to play Harry Osborn. So I'm very curious, because you already told us that Norman Osborn doesn't exist in this universe, or at least not in a way that Green Goblin Norman Osborn would be able to Google him and find information about him. I still say he should have had a startup in New Jersey. That was clearly the answer.
How can they have Harry Osborn in
this is where we're going. This is what I need to know. Is how are we doing all this? Because ultimately, my biggest point of all of this is, I fucking told you guys! I told you all of this fucking 7.5 years ago when everybody came out and said, you know what I love about Homecoming? It's not an origin story. No. Instead, we're going to have 5.5 fucking movies of origin story. You took out the spider bite and you said, it's not an origin story. And then you spent 5.5 fucking movies establishing an all-new canon that is bullshit and garbage in comparison to every other canon, and now you're returning to your roots. Jesus fucking Christ, what is wrong with you? Like, I know I just said I want a job from Marvel, and this is not a good way to go into a job interview, but like, I would have told you not to do it in the first place. Don't do this in the first place. Don't have the second movie be all about Peter learning that he has a spider sense. What does that sound like?
Spider Tingle.
That sounds... Don't even... That sounds like an origin story, right? He's learning about his superpowers? That sounds like a fucking origin story to me! He has to make a new costume because it's a fucking origin story!
That look on your face, that might have been the best thing I've ever done in my life.
So my point is only this. I am excited that Brand New Day is happening. They even chose the title I would have gone with. Brand New Day is the clear answer. My Spider-Man story would be Peter Parker works at Horizon Labs. I think that is the next logical step. Skip the Bugle. There's too much bad blood at the Bugle. You can't do the Bugle at this point. If you had Ben Urich, I would say do Ben and Phil Urich. Because then you have this great dichotomy where you have Phil Urich being the new age Peter Parker, where he is the new Hobgoblin. He steals, I want to say his name is Rodney Kingsley.
Well, here's a question that I know you can't answer.
Roderick Kingsley.
That's
it. Go ahead. What was your question?
So the question I have with this, and this is a question we have all the time, is where the fuck does this fall in the timeline? Because are they not shooting the next Avengers right now, too?
Yes, but they have not announced that Peter's going to be in the next Avengers movie. He was not one of the chairs.
That's true, but you have an established... I'm really confused.
I don't know. This timeline makes no fucking sense.
It truly now is all over the place.
Every movie needs to start with a date. It needs to start with a date. Like, even if it's just a stupid VHS recorder style date in the corner. Just give me a date so I know how long it's been since the last thing happened. It's so important at this point because you've confuddled this whole fucking timeline badly.
This is going to roll in. Remember what we're talking about now when we get to my final topic of Watch, Play, Read.
Yeah. So... my point is just, if you had Phil Urich around, or if you had Ben Urich around, if you hadn't killed Ben Urich off in season 1 of Daredevil, which was always a dumb fucking idea, then again, We don't know that Daredevil is exactly the same universe. For all we know, it's different. It's a side universe because we just don't fucking know.
Don't know anything.
Is Phil Coulson alive? We don't know.
We don't know.
We just don't know. If you had Ben Urich, then you could do Frontline, which is a dope storyline. Mm-hmm. Frontline is like the anti-Daily Bugle, and it's fucking great. All the actual great writers from the Daily Bugle get sick of Jonah Jameson's bullshit, and they follow Ben Urich to Frontline. And Frontline makes their hay reporting on the Civil War dispute. Mm-hmm. That's when they start. That's when they really get the bulk of their respect in the universe. Mm-hmm. And Ben Urich's nephew is Phil Urich, who steals the Hobgoblin costume and armor and glider and becomes the new Hobgoblin. He does this while also recording videos of himself and posting them to make money off of the views, including by the Daily Bugle, who pays him for his stuff. So it's this dark twist on the Spider-Man storyline. Mm-hmm. Of instead of this villain or this hero doing heroic things and getting paid unknowingly for what he's done, it's this villain who does villainous things and gets paid to do villainous things by his uncle, who doesn't know that he's helping support all of this that's happening. You could do, what's her name? Lily, oh my God, what's her name? Lily Hollister, who is Harry Osborn's girlfriend and becomes the newest Goblin. She breaks bad in a big way. Mm-hmm. You could do that. There's so many things you can do in Brand New Day. I wish I had more faith that they were going to make a good choice. He's going to work. He's going to work at a fry shop. It's going to be wrong. They're going to get it wrong again and again and again. He's still going to ride the subway. Why does Spider-Man ride the subway? No, I need someone to stop and explain to me why Spider-Man would ride the subway.
And and I could almost assure this is what the plot is going to be: him trying to reconnect with them, with
being tempted to reconnect with Zendaya,
yeah,
and not being able to, or trying to hold himself back.
Exactly.
I also had the recent thought of, do you think it's interesting that the premise of Far From Home was that, or No Way Home? God, I can't wait to get rid of this stupid convention. Dumb. We've moved on to days now. It's interesting that the premise of No Way Home was that this magical spell brought all of these villains to Peter's life because they knew Spider-Man's true identity, but didn't bring any of the Gwen Stacy's or the Mary Jane Watsons or the Harry Osborns or any of the other numerous people who have died knowing who Spider-Man is. It's really interesting that it only brought these specific villains and also a unrelated Venom who has had no interactions with Spider-Man, but because of some weird hive mind bullshit, he knows Peter's identity, but then by that logic, Venom would know Peter's identity before bonding with Peter because the hive mind would transcend time, space, and dimension. So really, you've just cooked yourself into this really dumb corner with this. I think you just got to get rid of the hive mind thing. I want this to be good. They got the suit. They got the suit right. It looks good. It's a good looking suit. I want Sadie Sink to be Firestar. I want Joe Keery to be Harry Osborn because if he can't be Peter Parker, he could be Ben Reilly. I would be okay with Ben Reilly.
See, my problem with that, once again, is they would have to do some really good writing to explain that.
Yeah.
And I don't have faith that they have writers that have the ability
Oscorp
to do
is going
to
turn into it's going to be like an app startup that it's going to be like Fitbit, but it's like the Oscorp Fit Tracker or some stupid bullshit. I wouldn't have done it that way. I would have had, if you did need to have Norman Osborn Google himself, I would have definitely had something come up.
Yeah.
Instead of him openly saying that he doesn't exist in this universe, which just causes a whole slew of problems.
Yep.
So, I want you to be better because, if I'm honest, I haven't liked any of the Tom Holland movies at all. At all. No Way Home, closest to a movie that I liked. And the only way
is because, honestly, Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield comes in and saves that day.
He's the only reason.
When he catches Zendaya, I'm like, fucking, we did it! We made it, guys!
But quite literally, every scene he's in is the best scene of the movie.
When he shows up to Ned and MJ...
Oh, it's fucking amazing.
And he's like, what do you mean I have to prove it? And he jumps up and he sticks to the ceiling and she's like, that doesn't prove anything. He's like, what are you talking about? That doesn't prove anything. So, I want Peter, substitute teacher, or working at Horizon Labs. Those are the only two answers in my mind.
Yep, I agree.
So, we'll see.
All right. So, moving on... That was a meaty start, yeah, buddy. Okay, so I want to do one quick little shout out. I did start playing Tales of the Shire.
Yes, I did too.
On Switch 2.
I hope it looks better than it does on Switch 1.
It is not optimated for Switch 2.
Oh, boy.
It is set for Switch 1, so I probably won't play it again until they do a patch.
Yeah.
Because it was rough.
When we booted it up on the Switch, and Kelly saw it on the Switch instead of on Steam, she was like, ooh. We all were kind of like the leaves didn't actually load in properly. Is very, very chunky.
Well, and it's like, dude, I have it, like, you have it on this, like, this new, and there's this big thing going around, and it is true that third-party software is not selling as well as the first-party software on Switch 2. And what I've seen with a lot of third-party software is that they are not optimizing it for the Switch 2. And that is why, because people are like, I am getting a Switch 2 because I don't want to play Switch 1 games that are not running well.
Yeah.
And you're going to put a fucking game on that, and there's no excuses after playing. I have played Cyberpunk on Switch 2. There is no excuses for these other companies to not have their games running well. This game runs at 60 frames per second. It is an insane game to be running on a handheld like the Switch 2, and it runs great. So games like Tales of the Shire, and I'll be honest, I did not pick up Madden today because of what I've seen about that. Mm-hmm. And once again, how are you not optimizing this shit?
Yeah.
If you don't know how to fucking do it, contact Nintendo and say, what magic do you have?
Yeah.
Because I have a game here that if we can optimize it, will sell 30, 40 million copies and help you sell systems.
Yeah.
Help us.
Yeah, help us make it better.
Help us make it better.
No, the thing about Madden that blew me out was the trailer was like every fucking Madden, we've spent the last year optimizing Madden to make it even more like the NFL experience. This is like being in the game yourself. And I'm like, okay, that's first off, that's not what I want. Second off, it's not true either.
Yeah.
Third, they then at the end of the trailer tout this new card system that allows you to raise the stats of players.
Yes. It's a play to win.
So it's not just like the NFL.
No.
It's not at all just like the NFL. So you sold me this bill of goods at the top of this, that this was going to be an NFL experience, and then you said, oh, but also here's some hanky-pankering that you can get into.
And that's the other thing, and I mentioned this when we first talked about this. I want to say it's a 78 gig download for the Switch 2. And it is one of the key cards, so you have to download the entire 78 gigs to get it on your system. But it has all of that stuff, the cards, the create a play, like, you needed to streamline this game. Cut all that shit out.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you would have had a tight, solid Madden game with, I believe there's a new coach mode on this, which you could have kept that.
Yeah.
But had the franchise mode, the dynasty mode, the online dynasty and franchise modes, the coach mode, just those modes, and optimize the shit out of it, you still could have gotten $70 for that fucking game. Yeah. And people would have paid for it if it ran well.
Yeah. Well, like, my thing is that they got rid of the creative team over 10 years ago. And I will not buy a Madden game until they restore the creative team, at least not at full price. I might get the Josh Allen Madden from a few years ago just to have it, because that was a really good Bills team on top of everything else. But, like, my bread and butter was making a creative team. That was how I played Madden. That was the most engaging way for me to play Madden. You know, because, like, I can go in and make Trent Edwards great and play as the 09 Bills and actually get them past a 5-0 start and get into the playoffs and all these other things. That's great. You know what's even cooler? Making my own fucking team. Yeah. That's way cooler.
And I'm going to use Fortnite as a thing for Madden. So Fortnite on Switch 2, the menus and, like, the loading, not the best. Like, it's kind of janky, but when you get into the match, it's smooth as silk.
Yeah.
And it's like, they understand. So, like, Madden, I don't give a shit about the bells and whistles. When I get into the game, that shit should run minimum 60 frames per second, smooth as silk.
No glitches.
And that is the big problem with this Madden on Switch 2, is of what I've seen in the reviews, is it is choppy.
Chunky.
And it's chunky. And you're playing online, because I believe it is cross-platform play.
It is.
So you're playing online with people on PS5s and Xboxes and PCs. It needs to run smooth so you can have a chance.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm playing Fortnite, you know who's a mobile player. Because all of a sudden they start glitching and you kill their ass super fast. And it's like, that's the problem with that. It's like you need to be on equal footing to make it fun.
Yeah.
And it's just not.
Yeah.
And it's fucking making me mad. But like this Tales of the Shire thing made me so fucking mad because I've been so looking forward to it. And it's like, dude.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Nobody gives a shit about Xbox now. I'm just being completely honest.
There's a lot of word out there that Xbox is kind of slowly fading.
Well, it's
kind of like
they're making too many. Like I don't think they're ever going to recover from the Xbox One.
Yeah,
that launch, that whole fuck.
That was bad.
That was the worst.
That was bad.
And they've been trying to recover. They burned like they were building from. What, the first Xbox to Xbox 360, they're building all this good, and even the Red Ring of Death didn't kill the 360. They were still able to have enough faith, people have faith in them, and then they fucked it up.
Well, and like, I had the 360. I bought a secondhand 360, and I went through 2 Red Rings of Death, and I still sent that bad boy in and got it fixed.
Yeah.
Both times. Because I bought the warranty off the guy I bought it secondhand from. And so it's like, fuck it, we're going to do this. Let's do it. And, God, I have so many happy memories of playing Xbox 360. Yeah. That was like the first system since the PS2 that I really connected with. The PS3, nah. The Xbox 360, weirdly, yes.
Yeah. But you think about, I'm even taking the PS5 out of this. You think of the 2 systems that people want to play Tales of the Shire on. PC, Switch.
Yeah.
Because that is the top 2 playing atmospheres for Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Switch, you have Animal Crossing. So why are you not fucking doing everything in your power to optimize it for those 2? Especially knowing the Switch 2's coming out. It's like I believe it came out, they've already sold over 6 million Switch 2s. Dude, you would have probably 4 million people buying this because you could have pushed it as, hey, I know this is an Animal Crossing, but this is the Lord of the Rings version of Animal Crossing. Yeah. And it runs beautifully, and it looks amazing.
Cozy gaming is a genre of gaming.
Yes!
There's a whole genre of cozy games out there. And the fact that you're not... I just want to know what happened. Because I think the issue, from my perspective, is we had 2 delays.
Yes.
They got rid of all the pomp and circumstance of, like, we're going to release this on Bilbo and Frodo's birthday. They got rid of all that. They were no, we just need to get it out now. Is that why it's not optimized for Switch? What happened?
I don't know.
In the process that made it so it had to be delayed twice? Because I look at the game that they delivered, and it feels like a game that's going to be patched into effectiveness.
They need to patch it.
Even elements of the game that I just look at and I just can't comprehend.
Yeah.
Having a cozy game with no romance system. Having a cozy game where you can't talk to everyone in town.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of befuddling to me that they've made some of these decisions, which appear to be made because they were on a time crunch. Mm-hmm. But why were they on a time crunch? What about this game was so developmentally heavy that they couldn't get it done on time?
I'll be honest, the creative character also kind of bothered me because it's like you start, instead of choosing a male or a female, and then building it from that, you get a female character that you have to kind of convert into a male character.
It's a non-binary character.
Not exactly, but it's like, okay, but there are male and female hobbits.
They start you in a skirt and with long hair.
Yeah.
So it's like you do have to kind of like, okay, well, we're not going to do that.
But it's like, dude, there's... I understand you could do whatever you want inclusion-wise, but it's like the basic premise to most of these games are put a third option in it, though.
Yeah.
But it's like... It took me so long to make a hobbit that kind of just looked like a grumpy old like male hobbit. Yeah. Like that's what I wanted, something from the fucking movie, like the guy that screams "proud feet." You know, I wanted that guy, and it's like I kind of got it, but it doesn't look like
not
that.
having a pipe really diminishes that too, and like there's just a lot of elements to this.
And like
that I
you're
feel
saying
like
about
missing.
the cozy game thing, the Switch 2 literally just put out a game about making a fucking fire.
Yeah, I know.
You're
I can't believe that's a real game.
Fire, and it's $30.
I can't believe that's a real game, and people are really paying full price for
it.
That's the craziest thing to me. Is that not only is it real, I can believe anybody would make any game. Yeah. I've seen all kinds of stupid bullshit games. Right? I was around when Goat Simulator came out, and we were like, "Is this serious?" And we didn't realize that it was a joke. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? If this was anything, it's worth $5. What the fuck is this?
This reminded me of, did you ever, I know you're not a big South Park guy, did you ever see the Guitar Hero episode?
Yes.
So the Chasing the Dragon game where you're injecting heroin, chasing the dragon, you never catch the dragon.
Yeah.
That's what this is like. All right, so you make a fire and you just sit there.
Sit there? And that's it.
All right.
That's the entire game.
Like,
okay. This is the game that my parents would have mocked us mercilessly for playing. Is like, you could just go out and make a fire in the yard if you want to make a fire. You can make a fire in real life.
Yeah.
You can clean your house in real life if you want it.
Exactly. And like, it's like, all right, but it's like, why can't you, like, there has to be a patch for Tales of the Shire.
I can only imagine. I really believe that Tales of the Shire is going to be kind of closer to like a No Man's Sky.
I hope so.
Of like, when it launched, it had a lot of problems and didn't feel complete. And didn't seem to live up to all the expectations that were put upon it. Give it time, and we'll see. But I'm hoping that's the case.
And the thing I'm hoping is, since it does have Weta Workshop's name on it, they will go out of their way to make it better because they don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
Because this does make them
Weta
look
has a
bad.
very high level of standard.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily always feel like this hits that level of standard.
No.
The gameplay elements are fun. I will admit it took me a long time to get used to the maps and trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B. The following the bird thing was a little confusing. I started just really relying on putting a way marker on my map and going in that direction. It's not a bad game, but similar to Animal Crossing, I kind of expected there to be more.
Yeah. It feels incomplete.
Yeah.
So, once again, hopefully patches are coming. Like, I think this game could sell gangbusters
absolutely.
if it's fixed.
If it's fixed.
And a good example, which you brought up, which is No Man's Sky, ever since they fixed it, and I think the Switch version sold really well because it was the fixed, patched version that was optimized for the fucking Switch.
Yeah.
And so that played well there. And it's like, dude.
Well, and what has always been the bemoaning of Nintendo fans since the Wii came out, third-party games fucking suck.
Yeah.
Every time, every Switch, every fucking system, the Wii, the Wii U, the Switch 2, every single one of them, especially the Wii, had this just fucking dump truck of bloatware dumped into every GameStop on Earth. And all of it was third-party, and all of it sucked. It was all bad. Every time it was bad. And I really want Nintendo to get to a point where they are... Right now, they're advertising heavily for third-party games. I want them to get to a point where it feels like the obvious solution. The obvious answer is to buy a Nintendo and get whatever game you want on Switch.
Yeah.
I still don't know that is the case for a lot of games. I still look at stuff like the new Final Fantasy Tactics that's coming out, and I wonder, would it be better to get it for a different console?
The only reason I give Square a pass, because they did well on the Switch 1 as far as optimizing and making their games run well. So I would put money behind.
Yeah.
Because then you think about it, all these 2D, 3D games, they wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for their initial Octopath Traveler on Switch. That shot it into the stratosphere, so now they're on all systems. I think Square knows this.
Yeah. I want to see also how they do with their Switch-only Souls game, which wasn't developed by Nintendo, but is only on the Switch.
Yes.
How is that going to go? Because, again, those run chunky. Those run heavy. And, Kelly?
Yes?
Does the Switch 2 have a memory card slot?
Yeah.
It does? Okay.
But it has to be a specific kind of SD card.
Gotcha.
Micro SD Express.
Okay.
They're faster reading,
Gotcha.
almost like an SSD.
So, like, if that's how they have it set up, then these really chunky, heavy games are going to need to work.
Yeah.
Because either you're going to have to get it as a cartridge, or have a ton of extra space lined up on your Switch. Mm-hmm. Because if you can't play that 10% and under game that I play with every laptop I own, where it's like, I've almost run out of memory, but I haven't quite. Mm-hmm. You can't play that game if you have some of these chunkier games.
Well, I'll be honest, that's why I kept the Switch 1. 99.9% of my Switch 1 games is just going to stay on the Switch 1, and I'm just going to play them on that. I only brought over, like, the Zeldas that I could optimize. Yeah. I brought over... I did get the Bravely Default OG that they just put on Switch 2.
Pokemon Violet is apparently like an entirely different game on Switch 2.
Absolutely.
It's a fully, completely different game.
But I got 4 words of what Nintendo has to do. Nintendo seal of quality.
Yeah.
Ever since they stopped that, it was right around the Wii time, and there's the shovelware. And that was them trying to rebound from third parties abandoning the N64 and the GameCube.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, but you overdid it.
You
to where
overdid it.
Like, the quality, maybe allow, like, indies to do whatever the fuck they want, but any major release, which I would put Tales of the Shire as a major release, any major release has to be looked at by Nintendo.
If you're going to charge over $30 for the game,
Yes.
it has to have a sale of quality. If it's like a $20, just like an indie game that is kind of like a mobile whatever game, whatever, who fucking cares? But like if this is like a game, if this is a quality game, triple A, double A, quadruple A, quintillion A,
So many A's.
then it has to be better than this, guys.
Yeah.
Not Tales of the Shire specifically, but just Nintendo third-party games writ large.
So fingers crossed.
Yes.
I'm definitely fingers crossed. All right, so recently,
Yes.
I did watch Alien Romulus. Which
I've been really curious about this.
Well, it's on my Voodoo or whatever it is.
Oh, you
now.
got it, yeah?
It was $4.99.
Yeah.
So that's why I just said, I'm not going to run.
I've had this exact thought 3 or 4 times of like, it's $5, even if it's not good, it has decent reviews. It's supposed to be the best Alien movie of the last 3 Alien movies, which...
Okay. Totally was not.
Okay.
And you might not have the same. So this is my. When you watch it, this is the vibe you're going to get. This is the CW.
Oh no! Oh
Because
no!
it's all a like late teen, early 20 younger cast.
Oh boy!
Of all pretty people. And they did a. They got. Oh God, the. Ian Holmes' character in the first one, was it Ash?
Yes,
Ash. So they have an Ash type a version of that, but it's not Ash, it's a different name. But it's did
another
the
de-aging. Is it an Ian Holmes android?
It's Ian Holmes. Was not great.
So this takes place before Alien?
It takes place after, because they talk about the Nostromo being destroyed.
So how can they have...
It's a weird... Like, I'm still iffy on the timelines.
Okay.
But it takes place after Alien, I think before Aliens.
How is it... Quick aside. How is it that no studio seems to know how to tell time when franchises are involved? Every studio wants a franchise. No studio seems to understand the constraints of time once they have a franchise. And they just are like, fuck it. Ian Holm in this movie, even though it takes place after Ian Holm's character dies. Yeah, fuck it. We're going to do it.
Yeah. It's... Dude, it's... Okay.
Don't even get me started on Prometheus. Jesus.
It is boring. The story is kind of dumb. The aliens look alright, but it's... I think there's some practical, like the first one, tied together with the digital. I came to a conclusion on my issue, and this goes back to what we've been talking about in previous weeks on how I think people are too pretty in these movies for their situations.
Yeah.
Because I look back at the OG Alien.
They all looked like workers.
They all look like workers. And I think the reason is the actors nowadays, especially these younger ones, are just too pretty. Mm-hmm. They just are pampered and too pretty. And like the lead actor, Kaylee Spaney, I think her name is, she's gorgeous. And in this, she's supposed to be playing like this almost like sewer rat who is a scavenger and they're out in space. And it's like, she always just looks so put together. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
The only positive I can say is they got rid of the Sigourney Weaver completely hysterical underwear she has at the end. And they have this girl in boxer shorts. And it's like, okay, that I approve, because... As much as I am a guy and I like looking at Sigourney Weaver in tiny underwear, it was the most ridiculous tiny underwear. It's like, dude,
insane.
You're a horrible human being for making her wear those and say, oh yeah, that's what women are wearing. This.
Well, it's my favorite is still George Lucas saying that bras don't exist in space.
Yeah, which is like, dude,
good job, George.
It's terrible,
getting it done.
So like, I give them credit. Yeah, put her in boxer shorts. Okay, that is something. It's a little more believable. But, like, I'm watching these characters, and it really is a CW show. Mm-hmm. Like, they're having these drama. They're having these little talks, and then there's, oh, someone's pregnant. Oh, we don't know who the guy is. And, this person likes this person. And it's like, what the fuck am I watching? And everyone's like, oh, it's such a great Alien movie. I'm like, no, it's fucking not. There was not one part of this that I felt like that sense of dread or that sense of like awe that you get with Aliens, because of course Aliens is not a horror movie, it's a sci-fi movie. This is like caught in between, and they don't do either part of it right.
A lot of Alien movies have fallen into this wayward gap of, are we a horror movie? Are we a sci-fi movie? Are we more alien or aliens?
Yes.
And depending on how much of one you add to the equation, you're going to end up with one situation or another. Mm-hmm. I feel like Prometheus went too far in one direction. Alien 3 went too far in a different direction. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I always come into an Alien movie wanting to like it. Mm-hmm. I really, really want to like it. And every fucking time I come into these things, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Because, like, Alien and Aliens are practically perfect films.
Yes.
There's really no complaints
and I'll be
make
honest,
about them.
Alien 3, I saw it I actually, for my 16th birthday, I had my dad take me to see it. There's a part of me that still appreciates the skeleton of the movie.
Yes.
It's some of the extra shit. Like, deep down when you watch that movie, if you can look past some of the bad parts, you're like, this actually has some really good set pieces and moments, and I do like the idea of it being this prison planet.
Yeah.
And, like, all of that was awesome.
That all
and
works.
And then there was just some of the extra shit that was stupid.
It's the prison planet works.
Yes.
Killing Michael Biehn.
Oh, that was
fucking,
the
worst. Newt at the beginning of the movie.
Hicks and Newt gone is dumb.
It's fucking asinine.
That's the worst thing.
What are you doing?
The worst fucking idea.
Like, oh, we got to make sure that fucking Sigourney Weaver is alone again. It's like, that's what you did at the beginning of the last one.
Yeah.
She wakes up and gets an email saying that her daughter lived to 80 and died.
Yes.
Because she's been gone so fucking long. And this doesn't serve anything within the body of the movie. It doesn't serve anything for Ripley's character. Yeah. It does literally nothing but get rid of Michael Biehn and Newt. Yeah. And that's it. That's all it does. Even fucking Lance Hendrickson shows up again at the end of the movie. It's just Michael Biehn and Newt.
And that was another part that I didn't like about the third one, because I liked how she had to plug Bishop back in. That should have been where it ended with Lance Henriksen being in that movie.
Yeah.
Having him show up at the end, it's like, oh, dude, you didn't need to do that.
What's happening? Why is he? What's going on? What's this now? Yeah,
and like the ending with having Waylon come down. It's like they could have made a tight, if they would have had Hicks and Newt survive and had them land on this planet and have the three of them along with these convicts, and then having like the convicts fighting over, they even said there were pedophiles there.
Yeah.
And as awful as it would have been, they could have had a dramatic dynamic with the Newt character. And it's
you have a great scene where Ripley just fucking shoots a guy in the head.
Yes,
for coming after Newt.
Exactly.
And it's just like immediately shows we are not fucking around. Yeah. We are not helpless. Do not take this the wrong way. We will fucking end your life.
Yes. And have Michael Biehn like fucked up in the beginning, and then him having to like.
He slowly
crawl
heals
out of bed,
and finally, by the third act, he's trying to drag himself along, and now there's this worry of, is he doing too much? Is he going to kill himself by doing too much?
There were, like I said, skeleton that movie, great.
Execution, terrible.
Alien Resurrection, one of the few movies I've walked out of in my lifetime.
Yeah. I don't blame you. It's not good. It's not a good movie.
The basketball scene, I was like...
Yeah. Oh, that scene kills everybody.
Even though she did make that
shot in real life, yeah.
Which I love the look, knowing that now, and knowing that the look on Ron Perlman's face was
real.
Legitimate.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
No, that was the first movie where I was like, oh, hey, this Winona Ryder. I like her. And then, like, the rest of the movie, I'm just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
Sucks. It had the look.
Yeah.
And it had the opposite of my problem with this, where all of the characters in it look like they belonged. Even Winona Ryder, who was like in her heyday, they made her look dirty.
Yeah. She looks like an urchin.
Exactly. And that's what... But then the movie sucked.
Yeah. But everything about that movie sucked.
Oh,
the Ripley clone sucked. The Ripley alien merger clone sucked. That whole stupid test tube room that they have, that sucked. Fucking Chucky being the demented doctor. I think that was Brad Dourif.
Yeah, it was Brad Dourif.
Like, all of this sucks, guys. This is all bad. The one, he, like, wants to fuck the aliens. This is bad.
Dude.
You made a bad movie.
It was fucking terrible.
You made a bad movie.
Yeah.
And so, I do want to see Alien Romulus, but I do have that concern of, like, Prometheus, I so badly want to like, and it's just a fucking joke. Top to bottom, left to right, it's just a fucking joke. The entire time, it's a joke. David gets jealous of not Tom Hardy, Logan Gordon Green or whatever, Logan Marshall Green. Because he's having sex with... What is happening?
Yeah,
what is happening in this movie? And then you get into the falling vertical, and you're just like, you could just run left or right, and you'll be fine. Just don't run straight. We gotta run straight. This whole movie sucks. And then you get fucking Covenant. Covenant I really wanted to like, because I really like Watterson. What's her name? But I love her. She's great. And I like Billy Crudup. I tolerate Danny McBride. This is a decent cast, and it's just not Catherine Watterson.
But once again, they killed off the main character from the movie before off screen.
Yes!
It's like, how many filmmakers have to fuck that up for someone to say, don't kill off your main character from your previous movie off fucking screen?
Why?
And don't bring Palpatine back in the crawl.
You set
don't do those things.
This whole thing up in Prometheus. This whole thing with I almost called her Rooney Mara, Noomi Rapace.
Yes.
You set up this whole thing with her. This whole thing, and she's jets off into the sky like Ripley, and she has David's head and this weird alien baby, all this stuff. And then all of it is resolved off screen?
Yeah.
Are you fucking insane? What is wrong with you? And then you have this weird scene of Michael Fassbender making out with himself. Like, not actually, but it gets really close.
Yeah.
Really weirdly close to him making out with himself. And you're just kind of being led along on this. And you're like, what's happening? I don't understand.
And then you come to the realization that Michael Fassbender created the Xenomorphs.
Yes.
And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
What's happening now?
Dude.
Excuse me? And then you have like the weird pollen in the shrubbery that they walk through, and it poisons them, that has nothing to do with the Xenomorphs. And you're just like, what is happening? There's so many strands in this movie. So when I saw Alien Romulus, I was like, this looks like it could be back to basics. We're in space, we're on a ship.
That's the thing. It is 100% back to basics, but they just don't do it well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good.
It shows you what the importance of a director, writer, and in the case of the original Aliens, a incredible art team.
Yeah.
Outrageous, incredible, hard to recreate in the modern sense art team. Like, I don't know if you've never looked into the making of Alien, you really should, because there's so many elements to that they had to navigate around and figure out how to get right. And they didn't have the benefit of being like, oh, we can just fix it with CGI. The plan was to have a dog wear the alien costume, and that didn't work. So now we got to come up with an entire new plan while we're shooting the movie.
Well, and there's the lead, her brother, quotations, is a Wayland android named Andy.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give it away, but there is this glitch he has that incapacitates him. And of course it happens in the moment that they need the tension to build.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it like, this is the laziest fucking writing.
The worst moment for something bad to happen, something bad happens.
And it's like,
wow.
It was the jump scare cliche, but not jump scare. It's the building of tension cliche. It's like, oh, this person got knocked out. The alien's coming. Are they going to wake up in time? Or this. And you're like, dude,
what's going to happen?
Can't you be fucking, just do something
good
that no one has ever done before?
Do something original.
Do something unique.
Do something unique.
Yes.
Do something that is inspired by...
And it's fucking impossible.
Going back to Covenant, if they had decided that this was going to be like another tale in the Alien universe, but not connected to Xenomorphs.
Yes.
And so you have all this botany stuff of this planet trying to kill anybody that lands on it.
Yeah.
Then that's really interesting. That's kind of what Annihilation is about in a weird roundabout way. This means nothing.
No.
This is a hat on a hat. And nobody needs two hats.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, one hat is good enough for most people.
Yeah, no.
So
it's dog shit.
I don't know. I don't get it. I still want to watch it. I want to watch Alien Earth. I'm very curious about this because the Alien name brings me in.
Yes.
And they've been trying for fucking 45 years.
The one thing they have not been able to do is what Predator did.
Yeah.
And rebound with two good things. Yeah. Like, so far, ain't happened,
We're
man.
gonna see how Elle Fanning's android is integrated into all of this later this year in Badlands. We're gonna see. It's not that I don't have faith in Badlands. I do. It's very curious to me that Hulu had 2 Predator things and decided to release them 6 months apart.
Yeah.
And that smacks of Matrix Resurgence and Revelations or whatever it was. Reloaded and Revelations. I was just like, do you really want to release this within 6 months of each other?
The funny part is, and you're talking about this, there were 2, when I was growing up, there were 2 franchises that people desperately wanted. Jason versus Freddy and Alien versus Predator.
And we got them.
The Jason versus Freddy is a dumb movie, but it's a fucking awesome dumb movie.
It delivers on the premise.
Every ounce of the premise. It is, I love that fucking movie. It is like chef's kiss, because they knew exactly what the people wanted. They knew exactly who these characters were, and they fucking just gave it to you. And they gave you a wink and a nod at the end, but they knew, once again, they could not make this movie without Robert Englund being Freddy. And they're like, we're not going to do another one. We did one. It was fun. Don't need to do another one. And
are you saying Alien versus Predator Requiem isn't a good movie, Steve?
Not even the first Alien versus Predator good movie. But like the sad thing is, Predator 2 gave us that scene in the ship at the end where you see the xenomorph skull. Yeah. And I remember everyone losing their shit. Yeah. And the best they can do is fucking Alien vs. Predator for a PG-13. I want to talk to those fucking executives that decided to take 2 of the #1 R-rated sci-fi horror franchises and make a PG-13 fucking movie.
Yeah.
Combining them.
I want to talk to so many executives because I genuinely wonder where they get their ideas from sometimes. Because between that kind of nonsense where you have a property that is clearly for a specific age set, and then you try and expand that age set younger to make it more accessible, therefore ruining it for the older age set that is actually defyingly interested in it. But also, like, the new way of doing things in Hollywood, which is that, our current crop of 12-year-olds are now 25. We better come up with a new crop of 12-year-olds. No. Keep making movies for the audience that got you here. Stop resetting. Marvel.
Yes.
Stop hitting the reset button.
Because, once again, I'm using Mortal Kombat. I got my son hooked on that first one. In fact, we watched that last night. You want to watch the OG one. And that got him excited in these new ones. Yeah. Which are made for us. Yeah. And it's like, that's what you need to do. I will take my child and show him the years from now, the OG Aliens and Predator, and then he will want to see an R-rated version because that's the fucking movie.
Well, and like, I get it. We've been through like the last 30 years of extremely litigious boomers who are like, I took my child to a movie and it was rated PG-13 and they said fucking showed a boobie. And I'm like, that's not the movie studio's fault. That's your fault for being fucking dumb and bringing your 7-year-old to that.
It's like the parent that buys their 10-year-old fucking Grand Theft Auto and said, I had no idea. So you're a fucking idiot.
So like, make the movie the way that should be made and then I'll deal with whether I want to bring my child to see it. If I think that my child is okay with seeing this R-rated movie where someone's going to get their spine tore out of their body, fuck it, let's go.
It's the old Howard Stern argument. If you don't like it, turn off your fucking radio.
Then don't come.
Exactly.
Then don't go.
Exactly. It's not fucking made for you. That's what we hear all the time when people make movies. They're like, well, it's not made for you. Well, you know what?
Star Wars isn't made for you anymore.
RoboCop 3 shouldn't be PG-13 because it's not fucking made for 13-year-olds.
No. I would love to see a 13-year-old react to the guy who's going to rape a woman in the first one and get shot in the dick.
Well, and like that, we can go on this forever. We got to move on.
Yeah, we do, because otherwise Murderbot's going to get punted again.
It might still get punted.
We can't do that.
Well, no, it might still get punted because this I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
So this is going off of. So I was listening to something this week. I can't remember. It was one of my podcasts, and they were talking about the box office for Superman and Fantastic Four. Yes. And how these are both major critically received and fan received popular movies.
Is it the same box office show I watch?
No.
Which box office show do you watch?
No, it was I think it was one of my nerd podcasts.
Okay.
They usually don't talk about such things.
Oh, okay.
But they were talking about the movies.
Yeah.
And it made me think, because I did look at this, and so Superman is coming to the end of its theatrical run, which it's been nowadays a month.
Is that it?
That run?
The first month, and then
Yes.
that's it. It used to be that, and I remember when this started changing, and it weirded me out. I was like, that movie's already coming out on DVD. It used to be that the movie that came out in May came out on DVD at the end of September.
Yes.
That was
Or even longer.
Yeah, that was when your home version started. If it had a good run, it may not come out until December for Christmas. That might be when the DVDs start coming out.
My first real love at cinema was Ghostbusters, which was in the theaters for 6 months.
Yeah.
Before, and then they usually take like a month in between before they release it on video, and then it's usually like another few months before it went to HBO.
Yeah.
And now it's like Superman is coming out digital, and I looked at it, the worldwide box office for it right now, 580 some odd million, which right now Fantastic Four, which also is coming to the tail end of its theatrical
and had
run.
a precipitous drop off.
It is third right now behind what's that new horror movie with the kids that all disappear?
Warriors or something?
Like the Warriors.
Yeah.
And Freakier Friday are both above the tentpole summer movie. Both Superman and Fantastic Four. Weapons, thank you. We're supposed to be these tentpole movies. Fantastic Four is already third behind two. I mean, Weapons is an indie horror movie.
Yeah.
And Freakier Friday is a Disney Plus movie
for
that
children,
they put out at theater. Yeah. So to me, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Because honestly, nowadays, movies like them need to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
If they don't make $1 billion, they might not lose money, but they're not really profitable.
They're not successful.
No.
They're not
They're not setting up the groundwork for, especially with these two movies, quite literally, and I'm glad they came out in the same summer, are supposed to be the new ground level for Marvel and DC.
It was supposed to be a full reset.
Yes.
It was supposed to be, we're going back to basics.
Exactly.
We're going back to the thing that made us. Superman for DC, Fantastic Four for Marvel.
Yes.
These were the things that made them household names.
And so now my question is this truly the end of these superhero movies? If not superhero movies, these $300 million movies that need to make $1 billion, need to sell overseas, especially now with the standing we have around the world.
Yeah. Dropping every day.
Oh, every day. So we have this standing around the world where people just fucking hate Americans. And the majority, I would say, I believe it's the opposite of video games. Video games, the majority of the money they make is North America. And then the other half is, I would say 50-50 is North America, then the remainder of the world. Where movies, if you look at it, the box office for North America is typically like 300-400 million, and it's like 800 million worldwide.
It doesn't even define. The local domestic box office does not define success for a movie anymore.
Not even a little bit.
We talked about it a few weeks ago. Transformers, the reason why Transformers after 3 still had a 4 and a 5 and a Beast Wars and a Bumblebee and all these other things was because those movies were outrageously successful in China.
Yes.
Crazy, outrageously successful.
And in fact, I want to say the last like 3 or 4 were one of the co-producers was, I believe, Golden Harvest.
Yeah. I believe it's Transformers 4. The finale takes place in Beijing.
Yeah.
Like they knew their market.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
knew who they were gunning for.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't us.
Yes.
And they were willing to take all of us making fun of them for making a 4th and then a 5th Transformers movie because it wasn't for us. Going back to this whole argument of it's not for you. It wasn't for us. And a lot of our movies are kind of falling into this gap of like, that movie isn't made for us anymore. That movie was made for global box office reasons. And it's just really fascinating because all my life, I was going to say the last 10 years, but it's really been all my life. There's been this decrying from the cinema crowd of, major blockbusters are a waste of time and they're garbage. If you want a good movie, you have to watch independent movies. And I always was like, no, there's good blockbusters out there. I famously, when I was surrounded by people that wanted to study French and Italian cinema, I wanted to study American modern cinema because I was fascinated by the way studios planned out things, what they thought was going to work. And it's also the most approachable for any, it's a lot easier for me to watch a, dumb movie, let's say John Carter of Mars, than it is for me to watch Y Tu Mama Tambien. Are they equal movies? Absolutely not. One is way superior than the other. But everybody knows John Carter's great. I'm kidding. I would never. I find this current approach to be like the newest way that you can tell that this gulf is just growing and growing and growing and shows no sign of slowing down is like we were talking about earlier. You have a handful of indie movies that look really interesting, and then the blockbusters, you're just kind of left being like, okay, Avatar 3, Zootopia 2. All right. Is anybody asking for this?
Yeah.
One of the resounding things that I've heard is regarding the Thunderbolts, the hardcore Marvelites, who are like any hardcore group, whether it's Apple or Sony or Marvel, Disney, the hardcores will eat the slop.
Oh, absolutely.
And say, this is delicious. Where has this been all of my life?
Yes.
And everybody else who has standards will look at it and be like, nobody was asking for this. Nobody was asking for a Thunderbolts movie, or at least not this version of a Thunderbolts movie. Nobody was asking for this version of the Eternals. Nobody was asking for this version of Wonder Woman 84. No one was asking for this version of X movie, except the studio, who thought that this was the best way to move forward with a plan. I really desperately want to know what those machinations are, because from a third-party perspective, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
You look at it and you're just left wondering, going back to all of the arguments we've had all year long. Do we think Fantastic Four would have done better if they had done something different with Silver Surfer? Do we think that was the crux of the issue? I don't know. I think that there's a lot of issues here. I think that there's issues with The Thing. I think that there's issues with Johnny Storm. I think that there's issues with Reed Richards and Pedro Pascal writ large. People are kind of, speaking of Awkwafina, Pedro Pascal is getting close to that level with a lot of people of just like, he's everywhere, isn't he?
He truly is.
Which is the first step in the, man, I really don't want to see him anymore. So, again, I love you, Pedro Pascal. I would watch you like I would watch Karen Gillan every day in anything. But I'm just going to warn you, you're getting a little close to that line where people are like, I don't want to see you anymore.
He reminds me a lot of, like, he's turning into The Rock.
Yeah.
Where earlier roles, he would be able to act and stretch, and now he's playing Pedro Pascal in these movies. And it's like, I know, stretch, thank you. But I look at the current stage of not only Marvel and DC and Disney, just the blockbuster in general. It reminds me of the Wii.
Yeah.
Let's use Marvel as the example with this one. So when Marvel started, you had the hardcore. You had the people that were just like, oh, this looks interesting. I never really watched these type of movies, so let's watch it. And those people branched off into the ones, like you said, that will eat anything.
Yeah.
And then as the system went along, you pissed off the hardcore because you went away from what drew them in and made them love you, and you lost them.
Yeah.
But then you lost the first stage of the ones that said, oh, what's this? Because they're like, all right, I had enough of it. I'm just going to put it away. And all you're left with is the slop eaters, which is not enough to make you a success.
That's why you see these 60+% drop-offs week 1 to week 2, is because week 1, you get good numbers because all the slop eaters will show up and eat your slop. And then week 2, turns out the slop eaters were good with just getting one round of slop. They don't need to come back and get another round of slop. And nobody else was really here because you chased them all away. If I look back at Marvel, there's a lot of elements of Phase 3 that are very faulty. There's an argument to be made that Age of Ultron was kind of the beginning of the end for Marvel in a lot of ways. In terms of, like, they overplayed their hand. They didn't make a good movie. They betrayed the fans, the hardcore fans that know the comics. They kind of started doing their own thing. They had kind of this weird malice towards people that had expectations of what they were going to do. They started doing things like Baron Strucker is going to be a big deal. He's not. We're never going to talk about him ever fucking again.
And look, Quicksilver, we're going to kill him.
We're going to kill him. Immediately kill him. And then you progress and you look at Ant-Man. Ant-Man for a lot of people was fine, but for hardcore fans was a disappointment.
Yes.
Civil War for a lot of people was fine, but for
Including me.
hardcore fans was a disappointment.
Major disappointment.
Doctor Strange, for a lot of people who didn't know anything about Doctor Strange, was great. But for the hardcores, we were like, this kind of bites. This isn't great.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. You get a few standouts. Black Panther, which again is more of an artistic venture than any of the other Marvel pieces around it. Infinity War, which is more because of the hype around it than anything else. There's still some sections of Infinity War. Drax eating his guzzle nuts or whatever the fuck they are. Yeah. Fucking dumb. That was a waste of 5 minutes of my life that I will never get back.
And Infinity War was the one that really started nailing the, we're in peril. Oh, someone's coming and save. Yeah. Oh, we're in peril. Oh, someone's going to come and save. Oh, applause. Like, it seems like they want, more than anything, those applause moments. Yeah. But now they have empty theaters, so they're not getting the fucking applause moments.
And the applause moments don't pay off. No. You know, I'm left kind of like, I look at, because I'm trying to think of like Eternals. When in Eternals is there a great applause moment? I think when like Makari shows up and gives us our first speedster in the MCU, like true speedster, because Quicksilver would run out of breath after running for like 2 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, what kind of fucking Quicksilver is this? You made a bullshit character, and he just wears sneakers and like athletic gear. You made a bullshit character. And then Days of Future Past, the year before, was like, this is how you do the character. Yeah. So it was even worse. I'm at a loss. I'm trying to think of like great big, stand up and cheer moments. And I know that they wanted there to be them, but like in a lot of cases they ruin them. I'm looking at Shang-Chi, where the big stand up and cheer moment is when the dragon appears. Yeah. Well, they ruined that by putting the dragon in the fucking trailer. So I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Also, the Death Keeper, or whatever his name is, gets fucking killed in the trailer. Like, what's happening? What is happening right now?
Well, and I want you to think about this. Think about all the Phase 1 prior to Avengers. None of those movies really had a stand up and cheer moment. No, they didn't. They didn't put those like, oh my god, this is the greatest, like stand up and
the moments that stick with me from Phase 1 are Tony going through the village in the Middle East, and blowing out all the terrorists. That's a great moment. When he gets shot by the tank and just stands up and blows it up, that was a stand up and cheer moment. Cap, when he's talking to Red Skull, and Red Skull says, "What makes you so special?" And Steve says, "Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn." That's a stand-up and cheer moment, but it's quiet. Thing. It's not like a stand-up and cheer moment like Thor descending from the heavens.
Thank you. And like even in Avengers, as much as I love the Hulk smash, that was like your first take. So it's almost like Joss Whedon kind of fucked up.
Joss Whedon came in and changed the way that dialogue works within the universe. Yes. And at times, it's good because sometimes the dialogue doesn't sound like it should, like a comic book storyline, which is good in some situations, like First Avenger. There's moments where you don't want to sound like a comic book. There are moments where you do want to sound like a comic book. Thor, when it doesn't sound like a comic book, you kind of feel like, what's happening here? What's all this about? After Avengers, it's all comic book dialogue. That's when you get that Marvel
except for Winter Soldier. That's the only one that they stuck to like.
And even then, there's still comedic moments, but they don't undercut what's happening. Exactly. When Joss Whedon comes in, you get this sense of nothing can ever be too serious, otherwise we need a joke. Yes. And so it's like a good example is when Tony is making a drink and talking to Loki, and Loki says, "How will your friends fight me when they're so busy fighting you?" And he's going to put him under mind control, and it taps on his arc reactor, and it doesn't work. And Tony says, "Well, performance issues, 1 out of 9." And okay, fine. That's fine. That's Tony Stark, and in a moment that makes sense. But then you get all of the other stupid jokes that fully undercut moments that are deeply serious and should be taken seriously, and where desperation would enhance the moment of the scene greatly.
And quite literally, the Avengers was the beginning of the end of Loki. Yeah. Because the first Thor, I thought they did him well.
Oh, they did a great job with him.
Did a great job. And then they turned him into a joke.
Well, he becomes kind of this puppy for Thanos. And you're kind of left like, Loki's a puppy for Thanos. I guess I get it because it gives him power, but his plan doesn't make any fucking sense.
Doesn't make any sense. And then when the Hulk throwing him down, it's like, he is a joke.
Yeah.
He's not serious.
Well, and then you get Thor the Dark Thor. And then it's all out the window from there.
Oh, it was completely done.
Yeah.
But it started with Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm looking at these movies now, and I'm going to be... You would think the two movies that could bring the money in will be the new Spider-Man and the next Avengers.
Yeah.
I am shocked I'm not shocked. I am very curious to see what they are going to do.
Yeah.
Because if they hit $1 billion each, I would be shocked. I think we're at a point that these movies are not going to do that anymore.
Well, and honestly, Doom Part 1 to me right now feels like a setup film. It does not feel like it's going to have any level of payoff.
No, it's going to be like an Infinity War.
Well, I think it's going to be Infinity War outside of a universe that we care about.
Yeah.
I think all of it's going to take place in a universe outside of the MCU, and then the end of the movie, similar to Thanos doing the snap, is going to be Doom coming to our universe. Yeah. The supposed... I won't call it the 616. It's not 616. It's six. No, it's like 999999998 or something stupid like that. It's fucking dumb. You had all the numbers in the world. You could have picked anything, and you picked the dumbest number. And then when you had to have a number, you picked one that was already taken. That's fucking stupid. That's lunacy. What the fuck is wrong with you? So I want this to work because I love Marvel, and I miss that buzz I used to get when you would watch something and something would show up and you'd be so excited. Oh my God, look. Because the last few years have been Photon shows up and I get fucking psyched because Photon is in WandaVision. Fucking great. Let's go. And then you get the Marvels and she's been neutered to this offensive degree to a point where I saw a video someone made where they were talking about how great Photon is and how much they didn't understand her power set. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. They had her in a fucking suit.
Yeah.
I understand that they had her in a spacewalk suit because they had to have Kamala Khan transport places with her so that, she couldn't be dying out in the vacuum of space. But let's be very clear. Photon is made out of light.
Yeah.
She does not need to eat or breathe. She can travel across the fucking universe in a matter of moments. Okay? Back in the day, when Thor had a fucking station out past goddamn Jupiter to alert the U.S., to alert the Earth in case alien invaders came, who did he have on the team? He had fucking Living Lightning and Photon, because they were the fastest fuckers in the universe that could get back home and deliver a goddamn message. And what have we reduced fucking Photon to? A joke.
Yeah.
A side character. A gag almost at times.
Well, and that's the thing, and I'll be honest, all of this has sparked like this deluge of Marvel in my mind of why I'm probably never going to see another Marvel movie in the theater ever again. And a big part of it is, I'll be honest, and it started with Infinity War. Well, it actually started with Civil War. As much as I've always wanted to see all of my heroes in one movie, it's too much. Like the end, like Endgame at the end, it's just too much, and every character has to have their moment, and it's like it's just too much.
See, I agree with you to a degree. I think that if it was done with a defter hand, you can have all those characters. But it's the fact that we need to stop in and see what Drax is doing and what Mantis is doing.
Well, that's
and
how
what
they set it
M'Baku
up,
is doing.
though.
But like, if you didn't do that, if you didn't have this necessity to stop in with literally every person we've ever met ever, I love Winston Duke. I do not need to see what M'Baku is doing during the last attack with Thanos. I don't care what Manape is doing. I don't care, okay? I wish I could, but I don't. You know why? Because there's all this happening.
Yeah.
So I just don't have the RAM to deal with M'Baku and Drax. I don't have the RAM to deal with Star-Lord meeting Gamora again, let alone all this other stuff. So, like, I agree with you. When it's done well, nothing will be as cool as that first moment in Avengers. Seeing that in theaters, after all of this hype, after all this time, after waiting my entire life for anyone to care about Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Hawkeye, which is still a work in progress.
Yes.
After all this time, we're still working on it. We can't get it right. We can't crack that egg. I don't know why. My life as a living weapon seems pretty straightforward about how to do it. I love those moments, but I agree with you. If you don't have a deft hand who can balance all those scales, then it just becomes a ton of stuff.
Well, and it turns into pandering moments, like having all of the female superheroes get together. And it's like, that's, once again, Marvel going, no, we know how to write for women. See, we have them all in this one scene fighting. It's like, all right, what about the other 3 hours that you didn't have any of them pretty much?
How about the fact that almost all of these women were snapped out of existence?
Yeah.
And then you had Black Widow and Captain Marvel and Nebula. I almost called her Nabu. Nebula. And that's your female character presence?
But
and
the whole
Captain Marvel is gone for like the entire movie.
In the entire movie, it is quite literally Nebula and Scarlet and
Black Widow.
Black Widow. That's it.
Yeah. And
it's like
you could have had Okoye. What has Okoye been doing this whole time? Yeah. So you're telling me that Shuri and T'Challa were both snapped. What has Okoye been doing? What has Wakanda been doing this whole time? We will never know because apparently nobody cares.
Yeah.
I care. I very much want to know. Okay? Why am I so disappointed by elements of Civil War? It's because I own all of the Civil War novels. Okay? All of the tie-ins. I have the Frontline tie-in. That's why I know about Frontline.
Yeah.
Okay? The fact is, you're just blowing it. You're just not getting it done. You're making these short-sighted, quick and easy dump-off solutions. And unless you're Tom Brady, that doesn't work. You can't matriculate the ball down the field with these little dump-offs.
And you brought up a good point. Let's say the beginning of Endgame, and you have this brain trust of who is still alive. I go back to, this is one of my favorite, I want to say it was 2 years ago, John Mulaney hosted the Oscar Governor's Ball. Mm-hmm. And one of the people who were getting an award was Angela Bassett. And his joke was, she got nominated for an Oscar for a Marvel movie. And he goes, it's like getting a Pulitzer nomination for a Reddit comment.
Yeah.
And it was great. And it's like, okay, the Queen is insanely intelligent and she runs a fucking highly advanced kingdom. You're not going to have, did she get snapped? Or maybe she should be involved in this brain trust of the fucking planet.
Is she going to carry on her son's dream?
Yes!
To open their borders and help the world at the time of highest crisis? Or is she going to regress and say, no, this crisis happened in our backyard. We need to take care of ourselves first, and then we can help take care of the rest of the world. That's an interesting concept. We're never going to explore it.
And at this point, Captain America fucking knows them, and so does Black Widow. They were fighting alongside them in the last fucking movie.
I'm so mad at what they've done to some of these characters over time, because not only is it negligence in terms of this character should be here, and they're not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense why they're not. But then they go around like clumsy children.
Yeah.
And fucking ruin stuff in post. So we find out that Sharon Carter wasn't snapped.
Yeah.
And has been around the whole time.
Yeah.
And
becoming a supervillain.
Never reached out to her.
No.
Making her become a supervillain in Madripoor. What the fuck? So you've just ruined Steve Rogers' entire character.
Yeah.
Sharon Carter was super important to him, and now you've just absolutely cratered his character for no reason. At one point, we just assumed that Sharon had been snapped like everybody else, but then you went around like a clumsy child and told us, no, she's been here the whole fucking time,
but also,
and Steve did nothing to find her?
Nobody went after
Hawkeye.
They allowed him to become the Ronin without anyone saying, wait a second, he's still alive. What the fuck?
We could really use a living weapon right now.
He's one of our fucking... Not only that,
he's one of our original six.
Fight him.
Original six.
But you made me think of this, though. The snap quite literally happened in Wakanda.
Yes.
Why would you even leave Wakanda? Because, the Avengers compound is the Avengers compound. They don't have a fraction of the technology they have in Wakanda. And you're going to fucking leave Wakanda?
And Tony Stark is missing?
Yes.
Tony Stark is in space and missing 4 months. He's gone 4 months.
Yeah.
And you're in Wakanda, and you're not going to do anything to figure this out. There should be, instead of this whole time travel malarkey bullshit, there should be scene after scene after scene about them trying to reconstitute the time stone energy in Wakanda. We have the technology. It happened here. We have a safe space where we can do our experiments. Let's see if we can somehow tap into the power of the time stone that was used here. And that way we can do something. Or let's go around and explore how the world is adapting to what's happened instead of just watching Scarlet Witch, instead of just watching Black Widow mope around. And not, be like,
well, the only thing I could think of is the filmmakers said, well, we need to put him back in America.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any fucking narrative sense.
As much as I love Captain America leading a support group like Sam Wilson used to, and that's a great character touch, again, fully ruined by the Sharon Carter revelation.
Yes.
And that's a great scene. You can do more.
Yes.
There's more that you can do. This is a 3-hour movie. Why is so much of this time travel? Why is so much of this fat Thor? Listen, I am a fat man. I appreciate being given a fat cosplay to wear comfortably. What's happening? What's going on? What is this? Why is Korg here? Korg didn't get snapped. We're not going to explore anything that's going on with New Asgard or Valkyrie or anything. None of this matters, but we have time to have fucking Scott's tacos fly out of his hand because the jets of the plane land too close. What's happening?
And Thor, whose whole existence, based on what Odin says when he dies, is it's not Asgard isn't a place, it's the people. There's still Asgardians alive, and he's like, fuck them.
He's surrounded by.
Yeah.
He's living amongst them.
And instead of ruling them, he says, I'm going to get fat and drink and play video games.
And play Fortnite with Korg on my couch.
And make stupid jokes.
What is happening? What is the actual thought process
This is where I'm getting with this whole topic. It's like, if this is what the remainder of the movies are going to continue to follow.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Yeah.
Like, what are we looking at for these future movies?
Well, it goes back...
Same with DC.
Yeah, it goes back to that idea of clobbering time is a phrase from a kid's TV show.
Yeah.
In universe. It's not something that the thing says. It's something that some corporate shill came up with as a catchphrase for a kid's TV show. I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate this. I immediately and openly hate this.
Yeah.
This is not funny. This is not where you're going to strike a good bit. This is not a good place to mine for comedy or anything else. You know what you have to do. Yeah. If he doesn't want to say it anymore, then that can still be a bit. But you have to have had him say it. That has to have been part of his personality.
Yeah.
You cannot... It'd be like if he wasn't part of the Yancey Street Gang, or if he wasn't from Yonkers, or he didn't have blue eyes. Mm-hmm. It's part of the gig, man. It all comes together. It's all part of it. You can't avoid it. You know what happens when you avoid it? Van Forstick happens when you avoid it.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, something that really sparked this in me was John Barenthal, which everyone has a podcast now. It's not as good as ours, but John Barenthal has a podcast now, and he interviewed David Ayers. And they were talking about, like, he asked him, because I guess I didn't realize this, David Ayers directed Fury, which Barenthal was in. So they're talking about that, and he goes, what movies? And he goes, well, of course, Suicide Squad. He goes, he has the director's cut of the original Suicide Squad. And he said every time he shows it to people, the only emotion that comes out of them is rage. Because he said he talked to James Gunn, and they are not against it. And it's like things like this, where it's like, okay, we need to get some kind of juice flowing.
Yes.
And a lot of people, I want
a director's cut of some of these movies.
Yes.
I want the version of Age of Ultron that could have been. I want a better version of Age of Ultron. We can get into the nitty-gritty. I am going to tell you that you have to get rid of the farmhouse. That has to go. I know that doesn't work with all the rest of the canon that you built, but you never should have built the farmhouse in the first place, you fucking idiot. And I would still argue that having Tony Stark create Ultron is a massive misstep. And it's been recreated in media since then. So now the canon is just as much that Tony made Ultron as that Hank Pym made Ultron, which is fucking insane to me.
No, it's absolutely insane. And it's like, you don't even need to release it into theaters.
No.
You can say, hey, $19.99 on demand, you can get it on Apple TV or whatever, not $20.
Yeah.
They would make a fortune off of this. They even sell it in Blu-rays like they did. I have the 4K Bluray of the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Even though it's not my favorite movie, I think it's 1,000 times better.
It's way better than the other Justice League.
Way better than the original Justice League. But that's the thing, is they need to juice up us.
Yeah.
They need
the original hardcore fans.
And I don't think they're gonna do it.
No. because we're not slop eaters.
No.
We go in and we see what they're building and we say, well, that's not the right color.
Yes.
That's not how right angles are supposed to look. That's not the right character for this moment. I don't like that you did that. And they say, well, we're not making it for you anymore. You're too much trouble. You got too many opinions.
You and me, LexCorp.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
That simple thing.
Luthor Corps versus LexCorp.
Simple.
It's all it takes.
Yes.
All right? We can get into the nitty-gritty about deciding that Jor-El is a fucking eugenics guy.
No, and
that was crazy.
And I will never buy that.
That was fucking nuts. The fact that he tells Superman in canon, in the story, to build harems.
Yes.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And it's... I'm drawing a blank. Omni-Man's people. Viltrumites. He turned Kryptonians into Viltrumites.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
No, that's not what the Kryptonians are.
That's not what they are.
That's what Brainiac is.
Yes! Thank you!
That's what Brainiac's for,
guys!
That's
what they're doing. They're rewriting the basis of these characters. And it's like, no. You gotta start Iron Man.
Jim Gunn. Come here. James, I gotta talk to you. You know I'm gonna take it seriously because I'm calling you James instead of Jim.
Yeah.
James, come here. Here's an idea. You can fix this. It's not too late. We can still fix this. Brainiac is the central computer system for all of Krypton. We know this. Brainiac is sociopathic and doesn't understand the intricacies of life. So could it be that Brainiac
falsified that
redid
video?
The video.
Yes.
And in an attempt to try and get Kal to execute Brainiac's ideal version of Krypton.
See, that would salvage it.
That would salvage it. We can fix it. But not if you keep going and say, no, I didn't make any mistakes. No, this is fine.
Well, and I saw an interview with him, and he used this, God, it's such an arrogant, he said because he's such a fan of these characters, he felt that gave him carte blanche to make these changes. He goes, only somebody that has like the knowledge I have would be able to make...
Only someone who's seen a Superman movie in the last 40 years would be able to tell you that Jor-El is fully wrong.
Yes.
Oh, wait. How many Superman movies have there been in the last 40 years that featured Jor-El? Oh, quite a few, unless I counted.
Yeah. And it's annoying. That's where I don't really know what's going to happen with these blockbusters. Like, it's almost like it started with Jaws, and we've hit that peak, like, mid-2000s, and then ever since Phase 2 of Marvel.
Yeah.
Because all the studios have tried to build these... As soon as they tried to build universes, that was the death knell.
Well, and it's important to remember that back in 1977, in the early days of the blockbuster era, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg had a bet.
Yep.
Over what would be more popular.
Star Wars
or Third
Close
Encounters.
Yeah.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
The reason that this was happening was in part because they were friends, but also because the studio had no faith that Star Wars was going to work.
Yep.
They thought it was going to be a massive failure. And everybody, including Francois Truffaut of all people, showed up for Close Encounters. Which one is more important culturally speaking now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, you can't just go in and be like, it's definitely going to be this. You have to be willing to adapt, which is something that we need to remember as well. But, come on.
But that's the thing, is I think these movies they're making are for the... And it is. It's the current generation. Yeah. It's the... Everything's got to be fast-paced. Everything's got to be
I'm already
quick.
watching TikToks while I'm watching this movie.
Exactly. They need to understand those movies are not... People that are going to the theater now are people like us.
Yeah.
People who are watching those movies are waiting for it to come out on demand.
Yeah.
Or come out on streaming because they don't give a fuck when it comes out. They want to see it when they have access to it and they don't have to pay for it.
Well, it's the difference between you and I talking about why we're upset about X, Y, and Z happening in a movie, and Tim Robinson in a movie as a joke saying there's a new Marvel movie out, should be fun, we can go see that. That's the problem. Yeah. There's the problem right there. The vast majority of people see it that way, and that's fine. But now you've left all of us hardcores in the dust, so you can go for the slop eaters.
Exactly.
So now the Tim Robinsons of the world, Robinsons, not Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
The Tim Robinsons of the world can make fun of Marvel because it is genuinely trash.
Yes.
Because the moments that filled us, the hardcores, with joy have been so bastardized and changed.
Yep.
You know, I was excited about the Wonder Man movie until I found out fucking Trevor Slattery's in it.
Yeah.
That ruins it.
Yeah.
You understand that ruins it, right? It's better to not have Ben Kingsley in this movie or show or whatever you want to call it. That fully fucking ruins it.
Yep.
The answer in Shang-Chi was to have the skeleton of Trevor in the corner.
Yes.
That was the answer.
Yes.
The Ten Rings picked him up and killed him for taking their name.
Yes.
That's the answer.
But that's why they'll never get out of their own way, because they realized after Iron Man 3 that the problem was Trevor and people were pissed because of Trevor. So they wrote the perfect way to get rid of him, and then you fucking bring him back. They just can't. Like you've said a million times, they can't get out of their own way.
They can't help themselves. Well, it's like how they had for that brief period where they had the short films that they would release online in between each movie.
Which was the Trevor Slattery one.
There was a Trevor Slattery one,
yeah.
and I think it was the same one. Was it Justin
Hail
Hammer?
to the King it was called.
Yeah, I think there was also Justin Hammer had one. It may have been the same one.
I think so, yeah. It wasn't the same, it was different.
But like it was this idea of showing these characters in a different light, and in the case of the Trevor Slattery one, it was like, maybe he really is the Mandarin. Oh, maybe this whole thing has been a big joke. I don't know. Who can say? And all of which doesn't fucking matter, because we get to Shang-Chi, and it's revealed that Trevor really is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So why is he here? If he's not actually the Mandarin and he has no importance to anything going on, the only reason to have him is as a joke. And as it turns out, he's the only person that can find our way into this magical kingdom, which only opens if you have a pure heart or something. So we have to have Trevor there to guide the... Why is this happening?
And it's like you set up the Mandarin in that short as the Mandarin who he truly is, this bloodthirsty guy who's really fucking pissed that they made a joke of him. And he is going to absolutely destroy Trevor Slattery, but for some reason he lets him live because he's their new Simple Jack.
Yeah, Simple Jack.
He's their Simple Jack now because he'll do their performances. And it's like, you made Simple Jack into a fucking Marvel character? Like... The fuck are you doing?
And you put him in another Southeastern Asian country?
Yes! Dude! It truly is Simple fucking Jack.
What are we doing? What is the plan here? There is no plan. None plan left beef. That's all it is. It's no plan, and all that's left is beef.
Yeah.
Beef for everybody to deal with, because you end up sitting here being like, you know what would have made Black Widow better is just having Taskmaster be the villain the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
That's what have made that movie great, but you didn't do that.
Yeah.
And instead you turned it into a Me Too piece about, the terrible things that men do to women. Dude, I fucking know. I fight that battle every fucking day to try and not be seen by every fucking person as part of the problem. I try every fucking day to fight that battle. You know what's not going to help me fight it? This. This is yet another piece of information that I already know.
Well, that's always been... Okay, I wouldn't say always. That's been their problem for a long time. And I think Thor Love and Thunder was the big thing where it's like, listen, we understand, just like you're saying, we know there's a problem out there. There are assholes out there. There are douchebags. But when you make the entire male race look like a joke in your media, that's where you're going to fucking piss people off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, just like you're saying, you and I are on the top of that. Listen, dude, we respect women. We understand shit. But we're not fucking idiots. And you don't need to make all of the characters that we grew up loving look like fucking idiots just to make the female characters look stronger and then fuck up the female characters on top of it.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Nick Fury. What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened to Nick Fury?
About Secret Wars.
I'm just talking about Captain Marvel, or the Marvels. I'm just talking about the Marvels.
That started with Secret Invasion. That went into the Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
But like, this is what they do now. This is all they do, is just like come up with a bullshit argument that is based around the zeitgeist of the moment, not around any canon or long-term solutions or ideas that are relevant or anything. It's just, what is the internet talking about today? We're going to make that be the basis of our movie. And then we're immediately going to throw that away when we're done. It's like TD Bank. I remember when I lived in New York, I had so many friends that were extremely angry with TD Bank. Not because of their banking policies, but because they would make this big show about Pride every June. And then July 1st, they would fold all their Pride stuff away and put it back in the back room and treat it like it was Valentine's Day. It's fucking not. This means a lot to a lot of people. And you can't just play the game every once in a while and then move on to the next thing when it doesn't work or when you're done with it. You know, so you look at Secret Invasion. How much of Secret Invasion is actually going to stay canon eventually?
Nothing.
How much of it is going to end up like Sharon Carter, where there was a thing that was going to be a certain way, and then they did this whole 180 because they had a different idea, and so they decided, oh, this one thing that we have, we don't know how to do anything with it, or we don't like what we're doing with it, so we're going to do a complete change on the entire thing, and we're going to do a terrible job of it.
Well, it's already not canon because they knew it bombed, so they're not going to make it canon, but then didn't his Skrull wife go up with him to the space station?
Yeah.
And in the Marvel, she wasn't there?
She's not there.
So it's like, it already isn't canon. It's already acting as it never happened. But it's like, the thing I saw an interview with Tarantino when he was talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he was getting all the shit about Margot Robbie not having enough lines, and he's like, and I appreciate when he says this, he goes, I'm not going to write a movie and put in things that you think I need to put in. He goes, she is not the main character of the story, but she's still, like, she doesn't have a lot of lines, but if you look at it, he is this glowing, loving of Sharon Tate. And her character...
He saves her from being murdered.
Saves her from being murdered in the scenes where she's watching herself in the pure joy. She is the joy of that movie. You have the romance of the two males, but she's the joy of the movie to get all the shit. And he's like, dude, Jackie Brown, she was the badass lead character. And then I don't know if you know about this movie called Kill Bill, where the fucking one killing everybody was a female character, and she's the main.
The Hateful Eight, where Jennifer Jason Leigh is just fucking up everybody.
And she's awesome.
And she's great.
And it's like, they need... I understand there is this push now for everything has to be diverse. Get it. But once again, and I know I've gone to bat with this a million times, you got to do it right. You got to tell the right story. You got to tell a story. You need to tell a story that has diversity, not a diverse...
not diversify a other story.
Exactly.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying before about organic Spider-Man matter. I was so excited because I didn't have to manufacture Spider-Man matter. I could have talked about how I've been playing Spider-Man 2, the game, again, and I finished it again, and I have bigger problems with it than I used to, but I don't know how relevant that is to anybody besides me, and so this other Spider-Man stuff was more important. I was like, this is cooler, this is better. What you're doing is taking a political stance, a representational stance, and enforcing it on stuff that doesn't always gel with that. So there's no organic sense to it. You look at Black Panther. That was fucking organic. To the point where when you see fucking Bilbo Baggins in the movie, you're like, why is Arthur Darvill in this movie? Not Arthur. What's his name? The guy with the face who's Martin Freeman. Why is Martin Freeman in this movie? What role does he play? Is he just here to make the white audience feel more comfortable? What's going on with this? And otherwise, it's a fully organic thing. You can immediately pick out the thing that's not organic. You can immediately see that, and that's all Marvel properties now.
Yeah.
And so you have, like, the Marvels, and you have these opportunities to do cool things with Photon, with Carol, with Kamala Khan. You actively choose not to do those things because they're inconvenient for you, but you will reinforce other things instead. And so you have the new accuser, whose name I don't even remember, and she doesn't really have a purpose. She has a motivation, but not a... She has a...
No, she was a
terrible character. She's just a generic villain.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is just that they lost their son, and Carol could have restarted it at any time. And so you're just left being like, so none of this needed to happen. So what I'm hearing from you is that none of this was relevant and needed to happen. That sucks. That fucking sucks. If you're going to make a Marvel's movie, fucking make it and have it be about Kamala Khan going out and trying to be a bigger superhero in a bigger world, which they touch on but they don't delve into. Yeah. Have it be about her family and how they feel about everything that's happening. Have it be about Monica Rambeau and how she sees Kamala Khan's family and how they approach her, how they approach Kamala Khan and her endeavors to be a hero. And she remembers Maria Rambeau and wishes that she had that. There's stuff here you can do, and you're actively choosing not to do it. And it makes me fucking wild.
Because they're making it for the least common denominator.
So instead we have to go to this planet where everybody sings, now Carol's dress is just going to magically change, or her costume is going to magically change into a dress with literal Disney sparkles? What the fuck is happening? Dude. No. What the fuck is actually happening?
But like
this is why this movie didn't do well, is because you have bullshit like this when you should be trying to write an organic story. You're just shoving stuff in and seeing what works. This is what female audiences like. Let's put a ton of it in.
And once again, you need to make, and I'm not saying this about the female audience not liking this kind of stuff.
No, I was saying that as a studio executive.
I know, but what I'm going to say is they are trying. Okay, it is still a much smaller piece of the puzzle pie. I would say it might be 75-25. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that more women don't see these movies, but I'm saying a lot of them, the 25% are the ones that really want to see these movies.
Well, and not for nothing, I heard a lot more women talking about Captain America's abs than Jane Foster becoming Thor.
Yeah.
You know, how many women did I hear talk about...
Oh, don't give a shit.
Touch his abs, Peggy. Do it for all of us. Nobody cared about Jane being Thor.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I really wanted to. But then you housed it in this movie that was bullshit. And then Taika Waititi comes back later and he's like, oh, I was doing like a funny take on the superhero story. So it's none of it should be taken seriously. He pulled the M. Night Shyamalan card of, oh, I wasn't actually making a bad movie with The Happening. I was trying to make a bad movie like Roger Corman would make with The Happening. It's like, no, this was an honest effort on your part, dude.
No, there's nothing.
We all see it. We all know it. This was how you decided to approach it.
Well, and to go on to the pandering thing, they pushed Captain Marvel the same way as soon as Black Panther started getting these sold out theaters full of African American children who, I was excited that they were able to see, because it really was the first, the first black superhero they could see, because Blade technically, but they can't see
nobody
the Blade
remembers
movies.
Steel. Oh, the much
Or
maligned
Steel.
Steel. Oh, Shaq.
But it's
what
like-
could have been?
They took that kind of momentum and said, oh, this is a superhero for girls. They get to see a girl. Oh, this is good. And it
has to be
didn't
superhero
work
for everybody,
because it was
guys.
obvious that they were pandering. And they kind of did the same with Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, you actually made a great movie with Blue Beetle, but you pandered with trying to sell it instead of trying to sell it as, listen, this is just a really fun, good superhero movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, is now it's like you can see in movies where they're trying to put, okay, where can we put this, and for this audience, and for, like you were saying with that scene in Endgame, where Captain America, they had to have one of the brothers. They said, oh, well, that was our inclusion of gay characters. He was gay. He was talking about
He was
going
talking
on a
about
date
his
with a guy.
husband.
So it was a 1-minute throwaway line in a real. I agree. It was a really nice scene. It was a throwaway line by one of the directors who has to be in his movies,
Which will never be referenced
and that
again.
was the only gay character, and like that's them. Oh, but look at that's
You have all of these superheroes and none of them are
It's
gay?
like, dude.
I'm going to tell you right now, I get definite bi vibes from M'Baku. I think M'Baku goes both ways.
Sure.
You know, like and that's another thing
Once
about,
again,
I think that's another thing about Black Panther too. Is like going back to what you were just saying, Black Panther has several incredibly strong female characters who are deeply representative.
yes.
And it's not pandering. It doesn't feel like they're trying to force Shuri on us, or they're trying to force Okoye on us. Two characters that the vast majority of audiences did not know going into the movie and came out loving.
Yes.
And you could have done that. It's simple choices. It's choices like, I get it. And I again, I am not a good person to represent this argument or position. But I think the end of Captain Marvel is part of the problem. The end of Captain Marvel is disappointing. It kind of fizzles. Mm-hmm. You have all of these things happening throughout the movie, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. There's espionage, Project Pegasus. There's all these other things going on that are really interesting, which will never be touched on again. I really wonder what Project Pegasus has been doing for the last, 40 fucking years. They've been around the entire fucking time. What has Project Pegasus been doing since the 90s? They've been around this whole fucking time? Mm-hmm. This whole fucking time. You can easily make this character relatable to both men and women.
Yes.
But instead what they do is they put Carol in the position of every woman, with a man who doesn't believe in them, who wants them to be a specific way, who's being talked down to, who's like... the whole thing where Jude Law wants to fight her hand to hand at the end of the movie, and she just blasts him. That should be the whole thing. But instead, you have all of these fucking speeches about how she's not strong enough, or she's too emotional, or all these other things that women are always told. And you're like, yeah, dude, I hear that on the fucking news all the time. Is it really important that we reinforce it here, or is it important to show her overcoming those things without naming them directly?
Well, and that's the pandering. Like, they have all those girls at that end scene where they're, like, falling off bikes and then they're standing up and looking. It's like, you didn't need to do that, dude.
Like, that doesn't even bother me as much as the Supreme Intelligence stuff. They fucking bailed on the Supreme Intelligence. Yeah. They bailed out hard to the point where, again, modern Marvel fans do not understand what the Supreme Intelligence is. They don't get it. They don't understand what it is. They think it's an AI. It's not a fucking AI. It's not. It is the merged consciousness of every great leader and scientist of Kree history ever.
Yes.
The whole time. Okay? And might I remind you that the whole thing with the Kree is that the reason they're interested in Earth is because the Kree have stopped evolving as a species. And so they see humans who continue to evolve and change, and they say, we gotta find out what the fuck is going on here.
But this Supreme Intelligence puts on jackets and dances.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Because that was how it was gonna connect to Carol. And I'm like, you are missing the entire point of this!
Yeah. So I think this really stood out to me, these two movies.
Yeah.
Going back to our beginning with Superman and Fantastic Four, I know we went on the tangent of all tangents.
That might have been our greatest tangent of all time.
It was really, but it was a tangent that was part of this conversation. That's why I wanted to have the conversation, because I knew this tangent was here.
Well, and going back to our ideas about taking stuff from the hardcore nerds, we just took all of Murderbot's table and we're like, sorry, we need this more time.
You're going down the line. You're our new James Bond Murderbot.
Yeah, we'll get to you maybe eventually.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a ton to say about
Murderbot. I don't either, but I
think it's fine. I think it's perfectly cromulent. Yeah. It's fine. It's really interesting, going off of what we've been talking about, the idea of representing progressive ideals in a theoretically organic way is really interesting. The way that they approach that here. Yeah. It's also very grating at times and gets really old outrageously fast.
So let's do a quick Murderbot. Let's do it quickly, because I know we're running long.
That was really like the only thing I had to say.
Okay, so we're running long. So really, for those of you who don't know, there's the show Murderbot.
It's on Apple.
On Apple TV.
It stars Alexander Skarsgård.
And he plays Murderbot. He is quite easily the best part of the whole show.
He's the only reason to watch the show.
Yeah.
Our boy David Dashmalian shows up as his kind of counter, and he's fine. I wish he had a little bit more to do. There's a lot of interesting...
Murderbot's inner dialogue is awesome. And the show he watches in his head that has, like...
That's not Star
Phil
Trek.
Coulson, and it has
Jack McBrayer.
And
John Cho.
John Cho. All these great people. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's going back to the Spider-Man thing. It's a reminder of why I think voiceover is inherent and super important to Spider-Man stories.
Yes.
Because when he's swinging around town... That's when he's thinking about stuff.
Yes.
And he's not saying it to himself. He's just thinking about what's going on. I got to find Doc Connors. I can't be late for this date with Mary Jane. How do I make this deadline that I have to make?
Exactly.
I opened a door that opens a door to tomorrow, and tomorrow the world is destroyed. What do I do about that?
Yeah. And I got to say, Murderbot's ending was terrible.
Yeah. What was that?
It was... The way I take Murderbot, it should have been like a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
Because, once again, the skeleton of it and the character of Murderbot, enjoyable. A lot of the extra stuff...
It gets so stretched thin.
It really does.
Like, we spend so much time with this throuple, and
they're
discussing this contract that they have with each other about how their relationship is going to be. And it just... Every time Roddy talks, I'm just like, what do you bring to anything?
The only two characters I gave a shit about in the show was Murderbot and the Captain.
I like the Captain. I found it really weird that they tried to sexualize her so often.
Yeah, especially with her, David Dustman. I'm like,
that was fucking weird. They have this like 60-year-old woman, and they're trying to sexualize her with like Murderbot and David Dashmalian. And at one point, one of the throuple people is like, "Oh, she's so hot." What is this? Why is this a thing?
That was the uncomfortable thing with me, is the underlining sexuality of the show. It's like, okay, so you made this group of scientists out to be the all right, we're the hippie scientists, so that means we gotta fucking
We're
have
way more hippie
threesomes.
and dippy than anybody else has ever been.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't need, and this goes back to my thing, which I stick to with Star Wars. You don't need sexuality. You don't need to put sex in everything. You can have just people that, hey, we're just scientists that are doing science shit, and yes, we believe in, like, we don't believe in murder, but then we're also fucking, and like there's this underlying sexual thing.
There's like so many weird sexual things, and then they get like weirdly offended when people equate them to kind of these sexual deviants.
Yeah.
And so like this one person shows up who's on the bad guy side. She shows up as a mole, and she just talks all the time about putting different dildos on Murderbot.
Yeah.
She has like extensive descriptions of the dildos she wants to put on Murderbot.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, that's weird. But then you have this conversation with this throuple, and they're all rubbing each other's backs, and you're just like, how is this different? There's a news conference at the end where they're trying to raise the stakes against the corporation that has kind of set them up for failure, and one of the reporters talks about whether it's true on their planet that they can get married to sex bots. And the crew is just like, what does that have to do with anything? But at the same time, it's kind of been part of their whole deal. Like, I don't know. There were a lot of moments that I really wanted to like it. And then there were just like, it would just kind of steal the floor out from under you. And you'd be like, and now there's two bugs fucking on the ship.
Oh my God.
And this is going to become integral to the plot because they're going to leave egg sacs on the ship. And if anybody touches the egg sacs, then the monsters come back and kill them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Well, and I think this issue is my running issue with most of the inclusion thing. Not everything has to have sex in it.
No.
You don't need to, like, you don't need to have characters sexually. You don't.
You were doing great. You could have stopped at having the non-binary person and the woman that she's married to.
Yeah.
Who are part of the throuple. And then this other guy comes into the throuple. And the idea is like, the woman is attracted to the guy is attracted to the non-binary person, the non-binary person is attracted to the woman. And it's supposed to be like this funny triangle. Oh, everybody loves somebody, but they don't love the person they're supposed to love. Oh. No, this is a waste of time.
It was such a
It's a massive waste of time. It's never funny.
No.
You could have just as easily had the non-binary person and her wife. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that would be way more progressive than so many things we've seen.
Yeah.
And instead you do this whole weird throuple contract thing. There's some interesting things here. There's a lot to be said about some of the characters are very autistic coded, which is both good and bad.
Yes.
Because it turns out that it's mostly the robots that are autistic coded. Mostly they say, I don't like making eye contact. And they are very uncomfortable in social situations. And so, like, I don't love that we're continuing this line of like, oh, autistic people are robots. They don't know how emotions work. It's like, no, that's a drastic oversimplification of things. But it's interesting to see it here.
Yeah.
David Dashmalian does a good job being this anti-point to Murderbot. None of it builds anywhere.
No, not even a little bit.
To the point where when it's revealed what this has all been about, it's kind of just like an offshoot line that you have to, like, someone tossed you a bag of Legos and now you have to put it together and you're like, oh, it was alien remnants. That's why all this was happening. Oh, okay. It was money. Okay. But, like, it's never... I'm not saying they have to say it directly, but I felt like that reveal was kind of anticlimactic in a lot of ways.
I agree.
And I think a lot of the show is anticlimactic.
I agree.
I like that it's 20 minutes long. I like that it's a clean 20 minutes.
It's a very clean 20 minutes.
But, like, man, I wish the show was better. It's not bad. It's nothing. It's a full neutral.
It's a C+.
I have it at, like, a B-. Yeah, it's
in that range.
Fine. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but I wouldn't tell people not to watch it. You know?
I almost would because the ending was such a letdown.
The ending is just like, I'm going to ruin it for everybody right now. Spoiler warning. The ending is just, everybody works really hard to get Murderbot back on the team after they leave this planet that they're trapped on. And Murderbot is repossessed by the company that owns it. And this whole hippie commune is like, well, you can't own a person. And it's like, well, he's a robot. He's not really a person. He has organic parts, but he's not a person. And the captain's like, I believe he still has his memories of us. And it's like, no! He doesn't. He's a robot. You need to wake up and understand that he is a robot. And so they go through all of this rigmarole to get Murderbot back and put his memories back in his body and reboot him. And they're all like, come and live with us in our society. And he's like, no. And he dips. Yeah. He goes. And that's the end of the show.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm free now. Fuck you. And he's gone.
I don't want anybody, even people I love, telling me what to do.
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't know if he ever really loved them. He
doesn't.
He hated those fucking people.
He tells us on numerous occasions that he doesn't understand the concept of love.
Yeah.
He can't. He understands it in dynamics, but he can't feel it. He doesn't own those emotions.
And then the fact that they always put him in those situations that made him uncomfortable.
Yes.
He just fucking hated their guts.
Yes.
And
no,
then
he made it extremely clear very often that he had no connection to any of these people, but to the degree where he kept on calling them his clients.
Yes.
He just refers to them as his clients.
Yeah, my clients.
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, we love you. Come live with us. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And there's kind of a moment of like, oh, good for you. But also, what the fuck was the point of all of this? We don't even get an answer to, did he kill 60 people?
Yeah.
We don't get an answer to that. No. There is no answer. Maybe.
Was it him or was it a different Murderbot?
Or did they put those memories in him? Did they override his system and make him do it? Ultimately, none of this matters because we're never going to get an answer on any of it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's just...
Which, honestly, it's a lot of Apple TV shows.
Yeah. Apple, in my experience, in my limited experience with Apple, the way that an Apple TV show goes is, wow, this is really highly produced. This looks a lot better than I thought it would. This looks like a Netflix show, but with more money. There's a lot of Apple products here. We're getting into kind of the same flow state of the same conversations and the same plot points and the same conflicts in every show.
Yeah.
And none of it's bad, but none of it is dynamic or good, I think, with the exception of Ted Lasso. And you're just kind of left like,
well, like
okay.
I adore the first 2 seasons of Mythic Quest. Adore it. And then that fucking jumped the shark. And like I started watching this latest season.
Yeah.
Couldn't. Like the characters, I just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like they wrote this really good show, but then they got off the initial premise for the 3rd season and it just went to shit.
That's what I'm wondering about with Ted Lasso. Is that we've... Admittedly, the point of Ted Lasso falls within the rubrics of what they're going to do.
Okay.
So Ted Lasso starts as I believe he's a college football coach in Kentucky or Kansas. And he gets hired to coach English football. And there's this whole thing of like, he doesn't even know the sport, blah, blah, blah. It's really cute. I really like it. Now he's leaving his team in England and he's going to go and coach, I think, a women's rugby team. And I get it, but I do feel like this should just be its own show. This shouldn't be Ted Lasso anymore. This should be something else.
Well, and this is the problem where writers... Well, okay, so you got the 2 things. You have shows like that where the writers need to look at their next season and be like, okay, this sucks. We need to just end it. Or then you have shows like Murderbot where it's like, okay, it's not great, but I do kind of want to know what's going to happen, but we're probably never going to see a season 2.
No.
My wife Audrey and I were talking about that with Netflix shows. Netflix is famous for that, to where they'll put a show out and you'll be like, hey, I kind of like this. Oh,
it's only
just
2
one
seasons.
season.
Yeah, it only has 1 season.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then you're just stuck. And it's like, God damn.
Well, that's where Sandman is. Sandman, which we'll also talk about on the show eventually. Yeah. Maybe that's my watch, play, read next week. We'll see. I don't know how pot committed you are to Sandman at this point.
Well, I'm thinking we do not this Sunday, but next Sunday show. So I'm going to try to watch it all between now and then.
Good luck. It's a haul, baby boy.
I know.
No, Sandman is under the same rubric of here's season 2. We're not making any more.
Yeah.
And so the entire time you can just see all these railings lining up to kind of finish everything off, and you're kind of like, okay, that's fine, but at the same time, I don't really feel like there's natural momentum to the story. There's momentum in the same way that Game of Thrones Season 8 had momentum in that it had to end. So now it's just ending, and whether you like the ending or not is going to be extremely subjective.
Speaking of which, this podcast has to end. It has to fucking end. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be 2 shows.
We may not even do a show on Sunday. No. I may cut this in half and do 2 shows.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very girthy episode 169.
We literally talked about Marvel for an hour.
And I knew we would.
Yeah.
That's why I had to talk about that, because I knew this had to happen.
Yeah.
Fuck. Episode 169, NerdPod Generations is in the books. Fucking, we have a website, nerdpodgen.com. Go there, look up stuff. Look at our past episodes.
Kortney Howell made our art. Brendan Williams and James Connolly made our music. I'm Alfred Judson. I'm tired.
And I'm getting Taco Bell. I'm tired
so
too.
fucking hot. We'll see you when we see you. Possibly for the NFL show. Maybe for Sandman. Who can fucking say?
Fucking peace out.
See you later, farts and enemies.